you. conversation is energized. The revolution will be televised. The retribution will be to terrorize. And the celebration will leave you mesmerized. Got the stage set, do it big, mega size. You want me believe you? Tell some better lies. I'm in the TV room, I'm doing exercise. I let the money flow, so I live a better life.
Hey, live a better life.
When I step out. But I set the tempo. I got a grip on the day that I let go. Ooh, it's so simple. Don't be so vengeful. Keep up the mystery, keep it suspenseful. Roll with the vets and watch what the best do. Cause one day they gon' respect you. When I step out. Hey, come on. When I step out. Hey, come on. Hey, what are you about?
that you've always chosen. I know that you got the power in you. Believe in yourself cause you know that it's true. Repeat the same words loud every day. I'm a boss, I was born to slay. I'm not giving up. Ooh, give it all I got. Ooh, don't you ever stop. Just you keep on, keep on, keep on. Just you keep on.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal. because we know just how much your collection means to you.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Welcome, Valorant fans, to the final day of the North American VALORANT Challengers Last Chance Qualifier. We started this week with 256 competitors battling it out for the final 2 spots in the VALORANT Challengers circuit. And today we are down to our last 2 teams fighting for our last spot. My name again is Sander Metro, and I'm joined once more by my guy, Keg. And Keg, before we get into the action today, we have to talk about what you and I saw directly yesterday, because one of those teams is rejoining us.
Yes, rejoining us, it's OR coming back yet again. And we do have a bit of a spoiler down the lines that we might be seeing some familiar maps to that OR weren't so successful on yesterday. But, you know, going and giving props to Squirrel Squad, they looked fantastic yesterday. They were dominant, they persevered, they were overwhelming OR in pretty much every capacity we could look for. So the big question is, what could OR do overnight to change up their game plan to maybe beat out Sonics to finally qualify?
Yeah, 11, the lucky number for Squirtle Squad, as they were the 11th team to make it on through. And as Keg just said, OR Esports, they've earned their spot today, unfortunately, through loss yesterday. And the team that's going to be joining them is Sonics, who didn't necessarily play yesterday. They got to hang out, watch, and wait to see who their opponent would be. And I would imagine they come into this one pretty prepared for this. So our matchup, our final matchup of the Last Chance Qualifier, is OR Esports taking on Sonics. And this one is guaranteed to be a banger. If you guys are unfamiliar, for whatever reason, you guys have been living under a rock, or you guys are just joining us, again, for whatever reason. This Sonics roster consists of Nerve, Mina, Shonks, Pure R, and Rooney. And on the other side, OR Esports, we've got Pure VNS, Nilly, AZ, Jonah 6, Zeldris, who is a rising star and looking like, honestly, one of the best raised players that we've seen in the LCQ, and Lear to finally round out that roster. But let's talk about it, right, Keg? Let's talk about these two teams, because as you said, OR Esports, things looked a little shaky yesterday for them, and they have to make big changes if they want to try and beat this Sonic squad that's been on a terror in this lower bracket.
You're absolutely right, Tanner. OR right now looks so good in LCQ, but yesterday was a bit of a fumble. Squirtle Squad, like you said, all the amazing Rays players we've seen the entirety of this tournament. Yeah, it wasn't Zeldris, but Governor on both the Rays and the Neon performed exceptionally. And these were on maps that OR have dominated all of the entire year on, too. We were looking at a flawless Pearl coming out from the team, but it was broken down and broken away from them. But for Sonics, though, it's going to be an uphill battle. They must have done so much studying over the last few days against OR, because in the past, outside of Challengers, OR have beaten Sonics every single time they've gone up against each other.
Yeah, that is true. We can actually take a peek if you guys are just joining us for the first time today. We can take a look at a little bit of what the run looked like for these two teams here. So Squirtle Squad obviously making their way on through, taking down the Nation, and then taking down OR Esports. Yesterday, they are on the far right, sitting nice and prompt in that qualified box. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, it was an OR victory over Nearest Airport to send them down to take on Sonics. Sonics made quick work of that in a 3-map series where map number 3 it wasn't a very long one. I think we were in and out pretty quickly. Sonics are pretty done on the day, and that's landed us in that match 5 spot between Esports with only one more spot to go. And with that, you mentioned, Keg, you mentioned that Sonics have been losing to this OR Esports team, even back when they were stealing lunch money. But if we've seen anything from this run that Sonics have been putting up, it's the revenge arc. It's the comeback story, right? They lost to the Nation early in the upper bracket. They battle their way out 4 matches in. Match number 5 is against the Nation once more, and they right their wrongs. So that could be kind of the underlying story here for the Sonics team is the revenge arc.
Absolutely. This revenge arc is going to be a fierce and fiery one. And funny enough, because the only other team I can think of that had such a huge arc in LCQ was the team that Sonics lost to get down into the lower bracket anyways. The only team that had beaten Sonics so far was the Nation. And unfortunately, they're no longer in LCQ 2, but Sonics take up the mantle, they pick up the torch, and hopefully now on their current 6-series win streak, they can make it through one more and get that 7th series to bring themselves to qualify. But only time can tell as we get to the map bans.
Yep, only time can tell, and yeah, we can take a peek at our vetoes, see what the setting looks like, the landscape of this series. Keg, you alluded to it at the start. It's a very, very familiar start for, at the very least, OR Esports. They pick Pearl. They're taking us out there. They let it slip from their grasp yesterday. And then obviously we will be guaranteed that Sonics pick of Fracture, and then Bind at the very end of it. So Icebox, the guaranteed ban for Sonics, Breeze, the ban for OR Esports. I'm very interested to see what Bind looks like, but for OR Esports, they have to get through these first 2 maps.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm a little perplexed, Tanner. I'm confused about the first 2 maps that we see because OR, they started off really strong on Pearl yesterday, but Squirtle Squad, again, when they swapped to the attacking side, they completely took the script and rewrote it to their favor, but OR willingly choosing to go first map into Pearl again. Now, granted, that was a flawless map for them up until yesterday. They must be feeling an extra sort of confidence there, but I'm curious to see what those big adjustments will be. They are starting up on the defensive side, so that may help for them getting that early advantage yet again, but it really comes down to the onus of what were you expecting for Sonic's attack? Are they going to be more grouped up like they usually play, or are they going to be a little bit more fragmented, which is kind of where Squirtle Squad were able to find a lot of advantage with map control to just squeeze out OR from their own defensive positions.
Yeah, and like you said, starting on the defense, it's what they did yesterday, and it looked really good. I was really impressed by, I guess, like, how important it is for you to keep your Sentinel out of the range of the KO. You know, Nilly is so important, is pertinent to this team, and they did a really good job. Nilly would play so far off of sights, even when playing the Cypher on Fracture, right? Putting the utility on A, going out and playing B, and just being able to make sure you avoid that 0 point, so that way you do still have a lot of stall potential for your team. It did just, they fell a little flat, especially on the attacking side. So an early start on defense is exactly what they need. They need the same game from Zeldris, who looked so good, from Lear. Lear was like the one guy that they were comfortable with just leaving on the site and saying, hey man, you can fight for the site, make them earn it. The rest of us will play that retake, because it looked so comfortable for OR Esports. And on the opposite side, although not as many plays in January from Sonics, again, I say in January because Sonics has been playing for quite some time, but the landscape of the game is changing. But they've been flawless for this. I believe 4-0 in January on this, and they do bring in that KO to this. So Nilly is going to have to be careful to make sure, again, staying away from those 0 points or that null command. But they do something a little different. Once we hop into the agent select, we'll see if this is going to be locked in. But the player that I always look at right now for Sonics, outside of Rooney, I mentioned Rooney way too much, guys. I'm so sorry. I'll always say Rooney's name. but is Pure R. Pure R is a star player. We know what Pure R can be. He joins this Sonics roster, of which, you know, in joining this, I would think, okay, now the star of this team is Pure R, because he had just joined this roster who's working their way through Tier 2, but he's yet to find his consistency. So coming into Pearl, comfortability is key for Pure R, and that comfortability pick has been Jet. So I'm wondering if they stick to that or if they've got something different, knowing how OR Esports played Pearl yesterday.
And adding on to that too, I mean, it's going to be, you know, comfortability and consistency for everybody in the server right now. We cannot overstate. This is the last chance for one of these teams. The real last chance to have that opportunity to qualify for Challengers, but I think we're just about ready to see what the agent select is going to look like. Let's see what things are different for this time around. I want to see agent swap-ups for OR. I don't know if we're going to get that. I'm not very confident in that choice, but we'll have to wait and see how the beginning goes out here. Now, keep in mind, too, we are starting off on Pearl. For other maps, too, like Fracture, we're going to be heading there map 2. That is where OR have been able to beat Sonics every single time. So additional pressure has been added here for Sonics to make sure they can win in the agent select. But already, a bit of a change here. We do have Jonah on that breach. We do have Nilly on Killjoy. So nothing terribly wild. We did see a lot of advantageous plays from Squirtle Squad yesterday with Harmful using Cypher.
Yeah.
And now that Mina's rocking that Cypher, you really have to be careful on B-site. Because on the attacking side, if you have the double Cyber Cages on top of whatever sort of utility that Astra wants to use, you can't see anything as a defender. And it almost nullifies Nilly's Killjoy's utility, and so that turret might not be as effective at spotting or stopping the plays if need be. So we have to watch out for B-site this time around, Tanner. If Nilly can clean up their act and make sure it's a little bit more aggressive than we see yesterday, we could definitely go to map 3.
And so the players need to watch out for the sites. It sounds like we're ready to hop into the game, so let's do it. Map number 1, Pearl, just about underway. I personally am going to be paying attention to mid. I want to see more mid control. Please give me that. That's what we want to see. OR Esports, again, starting here. They're going to be on the attacking side, and we'll see what they can mount for themselves as Mina, yesterday, actually, the linchpin a little bit was the opping Cypher. We saw Harmful go absolutely crazy, and Mina is no stranger to that operator, so see if that comes to fruition as Sonics, look at this, stacked up 3 strong out towards B, and they're going aggressive to steal away this space.
I love this already. Now, the only issue is here that Nilly's turret should be able to spot out the majority of these defenders pushing up aggressively, but right now, OR have no idea. Nilly's forced to stay behind, so it's effectively a 4v4, depending on how this goes. Nilly's aware of it, though. Turrets should have already spotted a few out, and I can give word to the rest of OR. That means nobody else is really on A site and should be free to attack. Everybody else left in the back of A is forced to back off, respect the utility and nerve, well, respecting an explosion to their face too. That's full A site control right there, Tanner.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Roomba had a mind of its own. It finished cleaning, and it wanted to take away some HP from Nerve. Stars go down. Pure gonna try and delay for now. Unfortunately, can't do too much as he's suppressed. Nilly never gave up his position, and he's starting to collect the kills for himself as this retake is anything but. They're still fighting back from A main. And although we have a couple of players left on the site here for Sonics, they're the only players still alive, and it's the tallest of tasks with no util. A C's at the feet of Mina. No, looks like he just dodged out. So no issues there. And Wave the Decay. Fault line comes through. Headshots are there, and now Nerve. What do you got for me, buddy? Haunt over the top, tap onto the spike, a headshot, but now you're running out of time, and Jonah should be able to close it out. No way Nerve does it, but I don't think he has the time, so we're a split second closer to the Cosmic Divide, but the round will still go the way of OR Esports.
Oh, what a really good start for OR there, too. A little bit of dancing at the very end, isolating the 1v1s. A really good attempt from Nerve there, too. Jonah played a little bit more towards time, almost kind of had to sacrifice Lear there, but keep in mind too, for OR, this attacking side was a struggle yesterday. Despite it being that second half, they didn't have as many rounds to play, but they just weren't able to convert the rifle rounds once they were in their favor. These early pistol rounds did go well, and so they had to buy up here, additional weaponry over Sonics. Sonics aren't going to barrel up like they did on round number 1, though. Right outside A main, they're waiting for some sort of impact, but they do have the Boombot that will soon be in their face. Only the Gravity Well and the Nebula coming out a little early is going to stop that robot, but look at this, though. There is an interesting adjustment coming out from Pure. And Shank, they're right outside the connecting double doors. OR, they're opting not to go for A yet again. Just like yesterday, Pure knows exactly what to expect when there's no play after the initial utility dump. It might be a re-rotate. But look at this, though. It's another double fake. Instead of approaching A, backing off, rotating, they're re-approaching A, completely silent yet again, but Rooney's aware.
Yeah, they haven't fallen off the angles just yet. Still Sheriffs, so a lot of respect still given from Ori Esports. They know what damage can be dealt. The Rooney Sheriff can be strong. Unfortunately, it won't be here in this round. Good paint shells to clear out one defender. Rooney the next to fall as Mina gets one back to Spike. Planted with ease and plenty of time left on the clock. Now Jonah gonna have to try and fight his way off the site. The turret there to help. Shots won't land from Pure R. They will, however, for Jonah. And Sonics. It's gonna be the meat grinder here. A Spectre picked up. Shank with the Sheriff. Cam to tag onto one, but Jonah should still be safe. A couple of seconds away from that fault line. Should be able to slow things down. As Mina pushes forward, he'll be dealt with. More shots to land, and they land for Jonah. The anti-eco looked a little dicey for a second, but at the end of the day, it was only Zeldris who fell to find the second round.
I mean, look, all things considered, we're 2 rounds in, and Jonah has been the MVP at this match. 4-1 on the KD line, being that clutch factor for both rounds that we've seen. A site is such a hard site to approach a lot of the time for people that play on Pearl, but OR, they're already cleaning up what they weren't really able to achieve yesterday. There was a lot of hesitancy, a lot of maybe lack of confidence when it came to approaching A. They're cutting noise, reapproaching the site. It's already a good adjustment that we didn't get to see against Squirtle Squad. Early 0 point goes down, doesn't spot anybody from OR, but they have the right idea. A lot of members of Sonics right outside the B-Link connector. Mina, though, not the Killjoy, doesn't have much utility stacked up on B. In fact, it's fairly silent. The double Nebula should be going up momentarily, blocking up that line of sight for the approach. Cyber Cage helps out for the audio. No one can push that without making a noise, and look at this, Tanner. It's absolute chaos at this point.
Oof, it is chaos. Fortunately for Zeldris, that was his teammates Nano Swarm and Nilly, so he didn't take too much damage as he just marches his way on through and starts to collect the frags. Shang, the second on the list in that little black book, only has 3 more in it. We'll see if Zeldris is able to capitalize. He's got himself an upgrade, and he's the only player tucked back site. The rest of the team out towards long, looking to play their util. They're first up. Oh man, that's why heroes don't wear capes. Unfortunately, Astras was spotted, and because of that, Nerve was taken down. And now Rooney and Mina have to try once more. Vandals in hand, Nano Swarm to delay. Haunt goes out, and this is just, there's nothing you can do with it. A Haunt in response to make sure, yeah, and now you just have to try and save those weapons.
We can see like a mad dash from Nil and company. They haven't had the best weaponry either, but they're trying to pick up just whatever Vandals they can, and they were able to find the Hunt, take anybody down. At least they didn't get taken out by the Spike. But let's see. I don't think Mina gets into a fight here. It comes close, but ends in a draw. Sonic so far having a similar issue that OR themselves had when they were playing against Squirtle Squad yesterday. They're giving a little too much respect to these attackers. They're waiting for the full spike to go down for the reapproach. But granted though, money has been an issue for the team. Only 2 Vandals to work with, nobody else able to full buy this next round. It's a tough decision. Do you just give the Vandal maybe to Nerve, or maybe Rooney's really feeling themselves and want to opt to keep it just in case? But once again, the gamble stack right outside of A. There is a little bit of dripping coming out into R, but otherwise OR, they're pretty much playing that standard comp again. Just looking for some more impact, see what kind of audio noise they can find at the beginning of these rounds, Tanner, but Sonics, when they have to go for big, grandiose rotates like this, it makes it really hard to re-engage onto a site. And just like last round, we're suffering from deja vu.
Oof.
But it's fake!
Yep.
It's not deja vu, it's Jamie vu. This has never happened. A complete fake over to B. The complete rotate from Sonics back over to B site themselves. But back on A, that spike lands into the ground. That's full site control. And how far away everybody else is from OR. They're trying to not take the extremities, but they're backing off. They don't have any ultimates to work with for the post plan, neither does Sonics, but they're giving enough space for them to approach to the site. But there's only a single lane for OR to work with. Nobody's inside our connector. That means it's gonna be a single lane versus single lane for the gunfights.
Yeah, and I mean, Pearl is so big, and they were all on the wrong side of the map. By the time that they've rotated over, they've waited out 2 Nano Swarms in the paint shells. There's just nothing Sonics can do. Or Esports just played it perfectly, and you see it there in the call. The Sheets flawless as they find their fourth. There just has not been a Sonics answer here on Pearl.
Yeah. OR have certainly cleaned up their game from yesterday, but Sonics are suffering from the same exact issue right now, and keep in mind, this is another team that's been flawless so far in Open Quals and LCQ on this map. And a lot of it comes down, a common factor, Tana, has been these Sentinels. Trying to just stop all of these pushes, find any sort of info. We've seen Mina suffer, we've seen Nilly suffer on the defense. But having the right read potentially right now, tripwires down on A site. It's been the most common place for OR to put the spike down. Gonna try to make that attempt to have that stopping power against OR's attack, but so far, no avail. OR chooses to back out yet again. And look at this. Not a single member of Sonics going for a lurk, pushing up. They're not even really taking that much link control for both A and B. They're backed up so far. They're trying to preserve numbers here. Their economy's not in a good spot. Even that opening prowler doesn't connect from OR's side, so they don't know about the presence of Shank. But Art could be the way to go. There is that spy cam. It's gonna activate like a little CCTV. There may have been 5 nights of LCQ, but I don't think Freddy's around the corner. Nerves on the other side, though, behind the little house, but no! The showstopper doesn't connect.
Those paint shells were so good, though. However, Shank on the flank picks up 2 of his own, and finally, Sonics have made an appearance. They were sleeping for the first 4 rounds, but here in the 5th, they take away 4 nice and easy, and that spike not in the hands here of Pure VNS, and the 0 point will reveal. We'll see who's the first to peak. This Bulldog going to be a bit stronger against both Nerve and Rooney, the 2 defenders here on the site. Chonk the next up. Unfortunately, that spam through the wall not going to be good enough, and Pure in an awkward spot as he pushes through. He'll take care of Chonk, but where does he go? Back to the site with 10 seconds on the clock, and he's answered by his counterpart. And finally, Sonic shows signs of life.
Absolutely, and Sonics, they're playing into the counter-adaptation game. They've recognized now that OR, the only times they push B site is when it's a straight shot to the site. Otherwise, if they dance around and play a slow mid-game, it's mostly gonna end on A site for the attack. We've seen this happen every single round thus far. Now it's up to OR. The ball is in their court. Can they make those adaptations needed to make sure that, okay, we gotta keep Sonics on their toes. We can't let them read our playbook. And again, a 4-sack right outside of A site might be a good start. But by now, Sonics, they have the lineup reads, the hunt goes down, and by now, everyone Sonics should be well aware. They can just give up that space again and go for the retake. Not a single member of Sonics are re-engaging Tanner. They're just waiting to see what that next move will be. How much do you want to bet that we see OR kind of dance around like mid and lobby and then go back over to A? Do you think there's a change here?
I mean, they have been playing the map a little bit more, and this time, we talked about it yesterday, where we wanted Pure to be able to do a little bit more for this team as the lurker, and all he's done is hold on to this space here to make sure the team can rotate back nicely. But I love this change from Sonics. Obviously, they have an op in Pure R's hands. He feels very comfortable with this weapon, so that should be a problem. He's going to find the first, and he's the sole defender. As that next one goes through the 5-hole, unfortunately, right between the legs of Jonah 6. A lockdown to try and force him away, but Pure R doesn't want to fall off the angle, and OR Esports know this, so they're going to wait for this one to time out.
30 seconds left.
Pure is still hiding inside of that lockdown. Gets detained. Able to escape, though. Not going to be able to go down from the gunfight just yet. It's 8 seconds of Pure out of contention. Nanoswarms are down. The double nebulas are up. Sonics are not going to be peeking out of that nebula, though. Not right away. That's the OR special for the retake of this site. Cosmic Divide goes down instead and creates a lot of anti-space for OR. They can't back off. Pure has a great angle on the other side of Donut, just waiting for Lear to make that move, but they don't overextend. But they're trapped on site.
And Mina's got the best play. Mina's got the best play the entire time looking at the mini-map. Nilly had the read on the flank, but he looks away at the wrong time, and you said it, because of the Cosmic Divide, they had to stay and fight on the site, and Sonics were ready to take that fight. A team ace for the defenders, and once more, 2 in a row, signs of life. They're not giving up just yet. OR aren't running away with this one.
The tracking that Pure got to take down Challengers there was so unbelievable. But again, Sonic's called the bluff of OR. They've been able to rotate back and forth from A site, but now when OR tried to change it up and go B off of playing slow, Pure was like, no, it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna make sure that happens anymore. Spike did go down though still. The fuse was called. But again, kind of like yesterday, Tanner, we're not seeing a lot of mid plays coming out from OR. This is a change though. The second round we've seen at least somebody approach mid, but those link connectors is usually the hot point of this map, and yet it's been awfully cold thus far. But Rooney does go for the Prowler, doesn't spot anything and backs off because of it. It's gonna leave all the pressure now to Nerve on A site. Those stars go down and Shonk might be ready as the stars approach on B.
Zeldris has just been doing the strangest things with these blast pack, almost kind of how like a Jet would fake their dash in just throwing a blast pack, popping it, making some movement noise, and it makes you think, right? Where did that Raze just go? Did the Raze just toss it out? Is the Raze just cross here? Are they looking to play aggressive with it? So an elaborate rouge out towards mid as they push through Art. Lear holding down the A main push. Lots of util dumped out towards A main, but the push is from Art. Jonah quickly deals with Nerve as the Cosmic Divide cuts the site in half. That spike yet to be planted as we trade spam back and forth. Nobody falls just yet, and Jonah actually, this plant I don't think was heard. I think on the wrong side of the wall was Rooney as Rolling Thunder comes through. The spam is perfect. Jonah, the 1 HP warrior, but again, Mina, no, the timing. Nilly able to win the fight out this time around, and that should do it here. Pure R and Shonk in a relatively unwinnable round. Although Jonah has 1 HP, there's still 4 players behind him, and it's another save call.
Yeah, I think the call for the save here is a really smart one. The money right now for Shonk and Pure alone isn't looking great. Everyone else on Sonics have a little bit of cheese to work with, but still not enough to make a big Sharnery board off of it. But that's okay, Pure. Trying to take down the other Pure. It doesn't quite work the way that either one of them would have hoped. But every time we've seen that approach towards A, it's always Jonah. Jonah is just the kingpin of A site. And if I'm Sonics right now, I'm thinking, okay, where is that breach? How do we take them down to either win the round or just force OR to go into B site? But a lot of respect again for Sonics have been given to OR to at least let them push A site. And even though there is a Cypher, there hasn't been a lot of that stopping power. But speaking of stopping power though, we do have that neural theft in case one of OR does go down. But I'm looking at that Nightfall from Rooney, especially postured over towards B site. This could find a lot of really early info, and it will be able to track where OR goes if they have a very short rotate. But nothing to start the round. Nerve does overextend inside mid. Does have a little buddy though, it's the robot Shonk. Nilly does push up here. And you expect aggression one of these rounds, and yet nothing happens from the defense. OR though, they can take advantage of this. They have a lot of map control inside of mid. Shonk now powered up behind that box, waiting for that Prowler to reveal inevitably where he is. That's a great paint nade, removing his position. That's full art control for OR.
Zeldris again eats a bit of friendly fire, this time of his own, not the Nano Swarm. Blast back go up top quickly, deals with the Haunt, and you mentioned it, no way was the head spotted over the wall. Rooney down to 8 health because of that spam. Fortunately, Nerve is able to get something back instead of being the first one to fall. He'll find the first kill for his team and slow things down as Aura Esports look to head elsewhere, but they're running into the operator.
Attempt number 2 does it. Zeldris falls, a duelist for a duelist.
Down B.
It's getting sloppy. It's getting sloppy. The fragment delayed for a second. Tap onto the spike. Gravity Well comes out. Haunt, that will be dealt with. Will not reveal the position. And with 13 seconds left on the clock, we go Haunt for Haunt. Now the spike will be planted, and Nilly holds the angle. It's the 8 HP Rooney and Shonk up in heaven. Meanwhile, Nerve has to play all the way across the map. 8 HP. Separates Nilly from winning another duel, but he's only got 31 of his own, and now, some way, somehow, Nilly's the one with the most health on the map. He's got a turret to play off of. He knows that a classic right click should be enough. He hasn't spotted a thing, and Rooney plays it to perfection, steals away the round, and Sonics find a third.
We saw Nilly's point of view. You couldn't even see where Rooney was at. I hope we have a replay of that, because I'm really curious to see. I wish we could see Rooney's point of view there, because obviously you would see a lot more of that field than what Nilly could. Because look at that angle. You look all the way up, you really can't see much. Unlucky, really. Oh, no way!
Wow.
Thank you, production! That's what the other side looked like. That is just unfortunate for Nilly. But now OR go for a timeout, and we're seeing a lot more interesting mid-rounding coming out for the team. Because, again, the big picture is let's pressure A. If that doesn't work, we'll re-engage towards A. Or we'll just go a straight shot to B. That's been what's been most like for the last 2 times we've seen them on Pearl. But now we're starting to see a lot more wild plays where they're engaging with mid and taking more fights. But when you have an unknown factor like Pure hiding on B for the most of the rounds with an operator, that shuts down a lot of those entry possibilities that Zeldris really relies on. And that's why Zeldris now, 7-6, just barely over a positive KD, is struggling to create that space that OR desperately need.
Well, and I mean, so we've been really harping on this mid pressure, but
We have been,
just think about how difficult it actually is to play through these extremities, though, right? If there's somebody like pushing through Art, you're not just fighting Art, you're fighting close Art, you're fighting the connector towards A, then you're also fighting the mailroom, the player that's in the spawn, and then if you're pushing through B-Link, you're fighting all the way down B-Link plus this mid connector into B-Link. You really have to be perfect in clearing out these angles, and your timing has to be perfect, so that way you can push through B-Link to make sure you're not getting backstabbed or running into any awkward utility. It is incredibly difficult. So I understand why they aren't putting all their eggs in that basket, but you still definitely would like to see some more, right? If they're going to send Pure on the lurk, let Pure late lurk through Link. Let Pure late lurk through Art, right? Let him find that wrap around for the team. But again, postured up out towards B. Pure are going aggressive this time. He's done waiting for them to walk into the crosshair out towards Long. He wants to move the crosshair to them as Nerve deals with the Prowler. How does he deal with the fault line here, though? The spike is not here. This is a fake the whole time. It's Shonk. He's running and shooting. He's playing a different game. You can't do that here. And 2 kills for 1 go the way of OR Esports as they try and find their way through Link. He'll back away with the gravity well, but the B side, it's vacant.
Absolutely, and off screen we saw Pure with the operator fall, and so the operator's not picked up by anybody on OR, but they do have that at their disposal for the post plan. Though through the Nebulas, it's gonna be Rooney trying to find some fights. Everyone else forced to back off. Flashpoint ready for Jonah though to see what the next move will be. And are we gonna see some more stars? Yes, set up for the post plan, possibly a gravity well, and here's Lear on the lurk. This is so strong. The late lurk that you mentioned, Tanner, could find so much impact, especially with Nerve on the other side going down. Now it's a split push, the reverse crunch. OR again. They find the body advantage of the spike. It's not even close. Sonics, they can't even approach it as OR's good for the half.
Yeah, sitting pretty in the half. And you mentioned at the start of the broadcast, this is kind of where they floundered a little bit. Their defense is where they got the majority of their halves. Or the majority of their rounds, excuse me, in that first half against Squirtle Squad. So for them to come out of the gate and find 6 on attack, I mean, this is looking like the OR Esports we expected to see on Pearl.
And a lot of that had to do with yesterday's Squirtle Squad just having really good overwhelming strats against OR. And they've been able to play very consistently throughout the entirety of this tournament. But when there's a new factor thrown into the mix, that's where we see the struggles amount. But early Prowler does spot at least a few, possibly inside of mid, but everyone backs away. A straight shot to B once again, Tanner. But keep in mind, Nilly does have that lockdown.
Yeah, and I guess another counter that we saw, right? Another one of the strengths was the Hunter Shuri. We don't have that this time around. And Nilly, he's not just util, he's a rifle as well. 2 kills the way the Killjoy as he starts working back towards another lockdown. And he almost single-handedly cleared out this site and the Sonics team. Sure, Zeldris got one of his own,
but Tanner,
Nilly had a
look
round.
at Nerve. He's on a gigantic lurk.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh! Okay, maybe not, unfortunately. There's not very many shots that can make Keg sound like that, but that was one of them. Unfortunately, he could not replicate, and Rooney has to lead from the front once more. A Prowler to work with, the player in front, the player behind, a Nano on the spike, and it's just so difficult at this point. Lear gonna play so far away. Nilly maybe looking for a 3rd kill on the round. Look at the health. but he just can't find the frags or the defuse. There's the third for Nilly, and the 7th for OR Esports.
No, let me explain myself. Nerve's late lurk was so good because it distracted OR in the post plant. And we could see after Nerve had done their damage on that flank, all that was left was 2. It allowed enough time for Rooney to reposition and play more aggressive onto the site. Just unfortunate at the end there that Rooney was caught out in that small little corner there, but otherwise, with the low HP of OR, that could have been a clutch from Sonic's side.
Right there.
But we're down to the last few rounds, Tanner. And now we're seeing, again, these big adjustments. The straight shot possibly towards B. A little bit more lurking action, but Sonics, they have their own trick up their sleeves. They're pushing up now super far ahead of A main. Past the Nebulas too, no less. But pretty soon, Mina's going to give the call on this 50 round that, hey, there's a lot of utility coming down on B. But there's nobody there, really. It's just Mina. And we had seen this before, the things that would happen with Sentinels by themselves on B. A little bit of help up above from Pure now, but the Pure falls.
A lot of investment, though, into this round. Nightfall comes out. Shunk finds the planter. Wasn't able to stop that spike from going down, but still finds the kill no less. Zeldris and Lear still waiting on that help to come back after being marked by the Nightfall and Decayed. Mina tosses out the hat for the information, and well, a team ace this time for OR Esports as they find their 8th, and Sonics,
Last round before
all
the
they can
switch.
hope for is a 4 to 8 half. Fortunately, they have the rifles to do it.
They do have a Cosmic Divine in their disposal, though. And it reaches across the entire map. So even if Nerve is on the wrong side of where OR are attacking, there could still be a lot of impact, but it requires the calls from Sonics. They've been together for a long time, Tanner. Probably together more than most of the teams in this tournament. They have the chemistry, they have the calls, they have that synergy. In order to make that ultimate work, they have to make sure it works out well here. Here's that aggressive play through the Nebula.
Oh man, they're just so ready for it. When you toss out that smoke, you have to be expecting aggression. That's exactly what happens for Esports. Nebulars are up to try and stop this push, but nobody here directly on the site. Mina and Rooney gonna try their darndest to hold off the onslaught. But a 3v4, paint shells out. Trying to clear out some of the angles. Here comes the showstopper. Zell just low in HP, and he actually gets tagged by the Seas. It looked postpartum on the Seas as Mina finds another, and somehow numbers back in favor of Sonics. As he goes aggressive, it's Jonah 6 with the spike, and now it's Mina with the spike. As we have that late lurk up into mid, and Nilly undetected for now, but Mina has himself one of the best rounds of the half. 4 kills for the Cypher, 4 rounds for the Sonics.
Such a necessary round, too, and Sonics, they were able to achieve that clutch off of a 2v4. Nerve was attempting to come in for the flank just like they did a few rounds ago, but the adjustment there was that Nilly had the alarm bot deep in A main to stop Nerve in their tracks. So it forced Nerve in this whole replay to go all the way around the map and just never see battle in that 2v4. But Mina again, Sentinels have been the name of the game for all of LCQ. A really good clutch effort there. But I gotta say, OR, they've cleaned up their game from yesterday, and I can't wait to see what they can do to achieve on what is statistically better, Tanner, their defensive half.
Enemy remaining.
Yeah, 8-4 feels pretty good. Sonics have to have some crazy stuff cooked up here on attack in order to get through all this, as once more we see kind of that the Nilly setup, right? I would imagine it's something that we'll see more and more as the game continues to progress. Valorant, not relatively new, but people are always looking for ways to evolve, but it's Killjoy utility down, and Killjoy plays somewhere that you would never, ever throw a 0 point, which is deep into those sewers. So that turret, that alarm bot, still going to be perfectly useful even when that knife gets used somewhere. And look at this. I mean, how many? It looks like there's 8 members of Sonics because they're rotating to be in so are Esports.
Yeah, this is a big cat and mouse game right now. Who's the cat? Who's the mouse? I think we might have a pretty good idea for that opening pick. Rooney falls, but everyone else now, it's a mad dash for Sonics to get onto B site. They have map control. Literally nothing for OR to work with here for the post plan. All that's the pressure there was already detected by the 0 point. Everyone else forced to back away, play for gunfights. Nilly's there for the double contact.
Ooh, uh-oh, that Prowler gets weird, and because of it, nobody gets nearsighted. And Sonics, they push deep into the spawn, and they start to answer back. They lost the player they knew they needed to fight for more, and they found so much more than they could have asked Now Jonah has to do the same, but it might be biting off a bit more than he can chew. Back towards the back halls, headshot onto one. He knows Shonk's position, but Pure R returns the fire, and Sonics will steal away the pistol.
They only need 3 more rounds to catch it up 8-8. A really good start for the pistol round game for Sonics, and now they can buy up weaponry. OR's gonna choose to go for full classics. May try to farm orbs this round if they're able to. No one's close to an ultimate just yet. And not even a lot of utility from ORs being bought up. They're trying to go for the most full save they possibly can, except for Jonah, who did buy the flashpoint. Everybody else, though, are looking for blood here. An absolute gunfight. You know what, Tanner? I'm gonna use your own words against you. Not against you, I guess. But they're gonna go for a death ball.
That they are. The only person not in the death ball is Nilly, and I think Nilly was actually hit by the 0 point out towards mid, so I was praising him so much in that last round. This time, says I don't care about the utility. I've got the trusty Shorty here by my side.
Oh no!
Yeah, this is maybe a grinder for Shonk. We'll see what he can get. Finds a couple of shoulders and a couple of kills. Here comes Nilly, though. Pure there to trade once more. And they lose one, but they take away the round. A pretty good anti-eco with a couple of Bulldogs moving into their bonus.
Yeah, I mean, OR were able to take down at least Shonk, so that's some economic damage against the team and a little bit of extra money in OR's pockets. Ooh. But this is going to be the true test. It's
Shonk
full
just bought.
What's up?
Shonk just bought. Shonk's like, okay, what's a bonus, guys? Sure, I died. I'm bringing a Vandal.
But I mean, at the very least, if Shonk loses that Vandal, you can always pass it off to somebody else, hopefully. It depends on how close Sonics play together for. As long as they can make that Vandal not go into possession, really, of anybody, or just not lose it, won't be that bad of an investment. But OR, again, a true litmus test. Their first full rifle round here. A lot of Killjoy utility set up outside B, but look at OR. They're looking for that death ball from last round, but they're bundled up together. The haunt spots out at least Zeldris. Zeldris responds to clear some space using that boom bot and try to make the escape. Sonics are much more aggressive than OR for their own attack, but not by much. The tread spots Zeldris going upwards and the pings are out.
And again, it's just a shoulder spotted, but it's enough for Pure R to find some damage. Zeldris forced to back away. Still has a blast pack and paint shells to play with, so can play the stall game should he need to. As Lear just making sure nobody sneaks through to deal with that alarm bot. This cage is out, and I mean, now anything is possible because of that cage, right? The paranoia sets in because that alarm bot is so deep, somebody could have walked through.
Yeah, and OR are so spread out. They're practically in spawn right now. They're waiting for some sort of information on utility. They can't face outwards. They don't want to lose these rifles. They're hiding in corners, but he executes out on A site.
The paint shell's unfortunately not able to delay enough. Pure R just runs right through and deals with the player inside the dugout. Zeldris, now the next one up, and he was just looking for some spam, but he found himself a jet, and the body shots, that'll be enough. Find Pure R 6 feet under. Post plant in full effect. 2 players out towards Art. I don't think that spike is planted here for Shonk or Rooney, and Mina is also headed out this way. So from main, this Nerve's got a very tall task. Look at the taps from Shonk, though. Quickly deals with the first and will find the next. Are they expecting more on this angle? Yes, they are, but Mina, the running gun a little too strong. Is Jonah gonna tap onto the spike a bit more? We've seen this cat and mouse before, but can Mina hold it down? Yes, he's done enough, and Jonah unfortunately has not.
Just barely, and that was the rifle round for OR. They've lost all their money, all of their rifles, and they almost were able to clutch it up. And now Sonics are 1 round away from tying things 8-8. Now they have full rifles, and Shonk, yeah, did eventually fall, but at least that Vandal went to a very good cause. Now they can lead the charge with a null command onto A site. This is such a hard site to play at times when there's a lot of utility going up and against you from that bottom stairs. But maybe instead of A, it's looking like, again, Sonics are opting to pressure more so mid and A side at the same exact time. They love to go for these crunches. And that's a lot more defaulty than we've seen pretty much any other attacking Pearl. The only issue now is you have Jonah with a stinger right on the other side of that door. Could be a late lurk. Someone might be getting a little overly curious and pushing the door, and Jonah might just succeed.
And he's backing off. Stars down, flash out. Alarmbot here, if this makes anybody vulnerable, the Stingers are going to do a whole lot of damage. It took 2 of them, but they finally get the kill as Mina getting a little tripped up. Oh, no way. Through the cloudburst, Jonah just starts to spray on through. Rooney trying to pick up the pieces, but they're falling everywhere. And the eBay Thrifty for OR Esports. Welcome back to the game.
How does Nilly do that with the Stinger? I would love to see a replay. I mean, Nilly just mows down everybody, and there was a big struggle inside B-Link. Gunfight after gunfight, and Nilly's just there to clean up everybody. And now, only just a few rounds into this half has the lockdown. That's so good for post-plan. Can just drive everybody off the site. Nilly's going to stack up outside of A, most likely to use the lockdown for post-plan on B, just in case. And we're seeing a bit of that default again coming out from Sonics. They try to pressure into A. And Sonics are playing much more onto the site this time. No one hiding in dugout up until now. Lear's there for the rotate to see if anyone pushes past the Nebula. But no, we're kind of back to this reset again. Spy cam's out inside mid. But I gotta tell you, Tanner, I love the architecture of Pearl. All the little chairs, the Worm Man. It's such a beautiful map.
It
You know
really
what
is.
else is. You know what else is beautiful?
What's that?
Pushing B, especially with Zeldris on an operator, having
Well,
a
I don't-
perfect line of sight.
Yeah, I don't know how beautiful this is going to be. This might be an ugly sight. I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and well, Zeldris, the beholder in this one, no. The shot goes wide, but at the very least, they've garnered information that they're leaning this way, and this is a big map. You can't really expect Sonics are going to rotate all the way back towards A when they've only got 45 seconds.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time. Luckily, though, there's a lot of pressure towards A. It's going to bait everyone to rotate over, but the 0 point comes out at the same exact time. Rooney, that Prowler, effectively useless, has to meet up now with Mina inside of mid.
30
But look at
seconds
this.
left.
The lockdown goes down, and you're right, Tanner. There's 30 seconds left, and now suddenly B's no longer an option. Rooney has to maintain their same position as before, but in a fight with Pure, it's going to be easier said than done. Luckily, though, there is that lurk from Mina that could help out here. But again, 16 seconds left. It's now or never.
10 seconds left.
Now never. Spike still not on the site, and I think it's just about dealt with. The drops on the floor, and there's no way to get this one planted. The clock, the worst enemy here of Sonics, as double digits are found. A couple of weapons are saved, but if you're Sonics, you would have loved to have that round. Instead, it goes away for Esports.
And we gotta give props to this round for Nilly, because that lockdown securing B site while having control over on A2 effectively locked out Sonics from pushing any site for free. And we've been seeing a lot of these attacking teams being able to late round attack A site without any presence of these defenders, but OR had that consistent pressure of having both, I believe, Lear and Pure VNS on the site, but really it was just that deterrent of Killjoy's utility to make sure, like, okay, we can't push this really. But it was a big save from Sonics too. They do have to go for a bit of a save as well. They have some thrifties. They have a sheriff, 2 sheriffs in tow. Pure, though, does have that Vandal. And so I could find a little bit more damage here to kind of even out the odds. Allow the rest of Sonics to pick up weaponry themselves, but that turret gives away everything. They get spotted out towards A side. That Nano Swarm, the timing needs to be perfect, but it comes out just a hair too early. Luckily, though, it stops Sonics in their tracks. They haven't been able to make map control in the last few seconds because of it. It does allow time for OR to reposition. But the question is now, where do you go next? Is it a straight shot to A, or are they going to bounce around Link more? They're not going A. Tanner, they're going to go Link right into Nilly.
And the problem is, like, Nilly isn't necessarily set up for that. He's set up to be in range of his turret, be in range of his alarm bot, and be away from the 0 point or anything that can deny that utility. And eventually that play just comes to fruition because they've never seen that. Now they want to try and plant a spike at A once more, but the rolling thunder denies, and the only player who wasn't stunned up was Nerve, and he's
left.
gone. So with that, 30 more seconds, and they have to just re-hit this A site, but the defenders are here, Keg.
Luckily, though, there's no lockdown this time. If they can be fast, they can't even go B anymore. They've wasted too much time. It's a re-aggress towards A, but a slow one at that. Time is ticking right now for Sonics, and they have to move. Pure's good for 1, and Pure VNS still hiding in dugout. Good to mow down Cypher, but the spike makes its way into the ground. But at what cost is Pure's life? Rooney was the last one alive. A valiant effort, but it wasn't for much. Another defuse for OR. They're only 2 rounds away now from bringing us to Fracture.
2 rounds away, and we'll see what Sonics can muster up in this one. It does seem a full buy will come through, full utility basically across the board. Only 1 Prowler for Rooney. Here in this one, we'll see if he opts into the light shields instead. But yeah, it's just crazy that Nilly eventually gets... He gets frag value out of that position because that's not why he's playing there. But it worked. And again, the last couple of rounds, the clock had been a problem for Sonics. We'll see if they try to move a bit faster in this one. There is an operator here to try and slow things down. Fault line, Haunt go out as well. They back away from it. Not giving up too much just yet. And a very close 0 point just to make sure that there's nobody pushing behind this util. And for now, Sonics are safe.
Yeah. And Zeldris with that operator, if that opening shot misses, they do have the showstopper to work with just in case as that contingency plan. But this is slow from Sonics. The alarm bot's still placed right outside the double doors. And you know, yeah, we have been harping on mid-play a lot, but these defenders, they are finding the craziest nooks and crannies to hide into to make sure, like, okay, we will always have that first fight, first contact aggression. Nightfall goes down, though. No one else nearby from Rooney. A big fake yet again, but Zeldris doesn't move. But the shots, they don't connect! And that's the showstopper loss, Tanner.
And basically the B-site loss, unless Lear can do something crazy. No, Pure R is on, the shots are hitting. And the spike now planted. Sonics, brick by brick, trying to work their way back into this one. This is what we saw from Squirtle Squad yesterday. 1 round to play with they had. They were X to 11, I think it was 6 to 11, and they started their comeback, and Or Esports let it slip away. And they're conceding this round here. A 3v5, they don't want to lose their rifles. They don't want to give anything extra over. So it's an 8 for the Sonics.
Yeah. And so the big question is right now, are we going to see OR repeat history, or is there going to be some sort of, magical way of turning this around? And there very well could be. The ideas of counterplay for OR this match compared to yesterday against Squirtle Squad have been a lot faster. But you can only go so fast. All of Sonics able to get away with that round. Not even really any damage applied. They took 11 damage in total that round. And they get to keep the op. Zeldris is going to rebuy the operator too. Oh, maybe not. Might be too expensive for them. Oh. Okay. Lear bought the op for Zeldris. That makes a lot more sense. I was going to say, like, no, Lear doesn't op that much.
Right.
But there's a silver lining though, Tanner. There are 3 ultimates for OR to work with for the post plant. Lear does have Nightfall. Zeldris is there for that, if the op shot misses using the showstopper. And there's that Cosmic Divide for the post plant. And we've seen Pure VNS's Cosmic Divide before. They're really good about blocking off that line of sight for attacks and defenses. But this time around, though, it might seem like it's a fake for A yet again. But we can see Shang's position leaning towards A site. It's a matter now if Pure can find this opening pop shot. There's Jonah towards the back with the flashpoint just in case contact's made. But everyone's hiding away. There's no visibility at all on these stairs. Tailwind dissipating out. Can't be used anymore for the entry. What to do? What to do? Pure is just waiting for someone to rotate over, but there's not a presence on B to convey the rotate for OR. That's a good read from Pure VNS too. Having these stars go down, blocking that line of sight. The turret looking directly at a wall. It's not where the enemies are, silly little guy, but in mid, that might be where some of them are. Nilly's playing much more aggressive than before, Tanner. We're waiting to see what this nanoswarm can do.
Nilly also does some weird stuff here. I'm going to have to DM this guy afterwards because
30 seconds left.
he stands on a lineup for this turret, and I think it's to make sure that it sees the site and sees art at the same time. Cosmic Divide to split things in half, and this allows for the right side of the site to be taken, but that's where all the defenders are as well, and here comes the showstopper. Zeldris wants to get aggressive, and it's right to the face, point blank to Pure R as the Prowler goes out, the Boombot follows, but the spike is planted. And now Or Esports are working against the clock as the step up from Pure is good, but his teammate falls behind him. Jonah taken off the table. A 3v3, things are even with the tap onto the spike. Gravity well used, no vulnerability. Pure gonna hop on, Zeldris plays just outside to smoke 2 players. Holding it down out towards Art, but look at this, the backstab from Mina all the way through Flowers to steal away the round again.
Oh no, Tanner. You put that energy into the air. OR, they're just 2 rounds away, and yet Sonics are creeping up the round counter. They only need 2 more rounds to tie it up. And it was just like yesterday, too, on Fracture, no less. A 13-11 scoreline where, again, OR came so close, they let it slip by there, too.
1 enemy remaining.
Mina from the back, the small little flank, good for 3. And this is the timeout from OR. This is the most important timeout of their entire competitive lives. If they don't win this series, Tanner, it was their last chance. And they won't be making it the Challengers. These next few rounds are going to be so important for both these teams. The only time we've seen OR win have been 3 rounds in a row, one of which is defuse. They've been able to win all the different win conditions for the map, but they just have to do it more consistently. And a lot of that does come down to Nilly. Now, we were talking about Nilly too, and I have a question for you. I'm going to be speaking a little bit like free-flowing for a second, right?
Okay,
so, the turret is facing the wall. Not towards the players. Is that an anti-flash turret? Like, does the flash not last as long? That might be the strat about why it was facing a wall, not the way you're traditionally thinking it goes. It's just something to think about. Really interesting.
Yeah, so I had noticed it yesterday, but I thought, man, maybe nothing of it. Then I saw somebody type in chat when I was going back through the VOD, say, did Nilly just use a lineup for the turret? And then I had seen the stream is a few minutes behind, right? So I had seen it happening again, because I didn't notice it in time. And yeah, he is. He's lining something up, and I really want to know what it is that, you know, Nilly is doing that for, because there obviously has to be a reason.
It has to be an anti-flash.
Either that or I think it sees art and sight and can help to make sure that nobody creeps up that way. But quickly we're onto the B side. Nano Swarms to try and delay, and Nilly just did not think of the possibilities. Was not sure if Pure R would push through, and he was happy to trade the damage for the kill.
And we talked about the struggles with all the smoke util going down on B side. That's going to make the turret less effective. But Nerve, equally as effective. Good to take down one. The trades are there, and now Mina being pressured so much. At least there was rooting to help, but that's a big emphasis on was. Mina's the last one left. This neural theft has to find so much info.
Remaining.
Oh, another round for Sonics. 1 away to tie it up again.
Wow. That was out the timeout.
Yeah. And normally when there's like 2 schools of thought, right? If you have, and you go for attack timeout and then it's a thrifty round after that, usually it just gives you a little bit more extra time to see maybe if there was an adjustment from your enemy team, or maybe it just gives you more time to kind of set up for the next round strats when you have your rifles. That was the rifle round from OR, and they lost it, and now it's a broken bye. 2 Vandals, 3 Stingers to work with here. And we see Nilly going for that same A setup again. And this has been the most successful setup Nilly's had. Everybody else on OR, they're sort of changing the placements more. We see Jonah playing much more aggressive around this corner for the alarm bot, and Lear is there for the follow-up. But the problem is, though, Tanner, it leaves pure VNS on an island, relying solely on either that turret or the call from Nilly to see if anyone goes into art, but only a single star divides out pure VNS in absolute carnage.
Well, so, okay, this is actually, the turret has to be for this. Because they're playing so passively, it sees sight. So if anybody is creeping up here, the turret will be able to reveal either art and sight. And it is. It's going to be first point of contact right here as Pure R creeps up.
I think last round it was deeper in, so it wouldn't be able to see sight, but this placement is so smart. You're absolutely right. And it looks like, though, both Pures are well aware of each other's presence. The haunt goes down, and the execute should be followed, but the gravity well goes on top, and nobody can move.
And Mina wanted to be linchpin again, but he gets caught moving a little too quickly on the lurk. He has to answer the stinger of Jonah 6, and he'll fall. So Jonah has himself a nice little upgrade as the Stingers continue to go to work. This time it's Lear for 2, and now Pure R has to try and hang on, but the up shot, it goes just over the top. And finally, OR Esports will take us to map point.
What a desperately needed round from OR. Now, match point. Sonics only need 2 rounds to bring it to overtime. Could very well see a banger end to the first map for LCQ, or the last one for LCQ. Oh, but what to do if you're Sonics? Those A pushes have worked out really effectively, but I think you're right, Tanner. A lot of what Nilly's doing, though, with that turret placement, watching both art and inside of sight gives a wealth of information away that usually the smoke util will not be able to cover. The only real counterplay would be that Mina has to cyber cage out those stairs, but you still need that info to see if anyone's on the other side or take the fight. But it looks like Sonics again are not willing to risk that. They've been able to find more success on B site and are opting to go that way. Nilly's utility is set up outside B. It's a great read, but this KJ setup, it's been faltering a lot for a lot of teams in LCQ. That turret's out in its usual spot. And usually the turret's more of a friend, but with Mina's cyber cages and the nebulas that go down, it becomes more of a foe and doesn't really give you a lot of info.
You are powerless.
And that makes it a little bit harder as well. Lockdown comes through. It's just a second before the null command. And somehow Nilly had the read. Knew exactly where they were looking to plant. And that spike, unfortunately, the fall on the floor, not before being picked up. No res really available here. It's just such a dangerous spot. So Shang should eventually time out, and that's exactly the case. Nilly awarded the kill. The rest of the defenders, they're all here, and Rooney can't even help his team. It's a 3v5 on the B site because he's stuck behind the alarm bot.
Yeah, a 0 point. That null command, had it lasted longer, would be able to give free passage for Lear, but yeah, he's stuck. Pure's gonna take the attempt, entry in with an operator, using that nebula like his life literally depends on it to get back sight.
Operator here for Pure. Oh, it's spotting bodies. Now it's landing shots. One more to step up. It's Mina there as Zeldris blast packs his way on through. Mina good for 2. And Rooney the long way around to try and help his team. The Cosmic Divide comes through, it cuts him off. Gravity Well trying to delay for just a second. It's low HP on Pure. It's Nilly on the spike, and he's going to hold it on the spikes. The barrels come through. The heads are taken off, and they've done it. Or Esports finally close us out here on Pearl.
Redemption for OR after what happened yesterday against Squirrel Squad. A really good comeback, and a lot of that, again, just looked like the fundamentals were cleaned up a lot more, Tanner. It looked like there was a lot more respect being given inside and outside the server, making sure that they can go for cleaner retakes than we had seen against Squirtle. But even on top of all that, I think just the gunfights looked a lot more clean for the team. They were able to bounce around their utility more, make adjustments when need to, and one thing that I think OR in very particular struggled yesterday with on both maps, they weren't able to read what Squirrel Squad was going to do. And OR in that second half, they were able to read these plays from SQ almost every single round. Whether that was a win or a loss, that was up to them, but they were able to at least go for these big brain picture reads.
One enemy remaining.
And it got dicey for a second. It really did get dicey. But OR Esports, they claw their way back into it. This right here, I mean, Nilly had huge rounds with the Stingers. Even this last round here, that lockdown proving to be so important. His play inside sewers on top of it all, staying away from the utility, the 0 point. But then in that one round, finding that kill as Sonics finally thought, hey, we're going to lurk through all the way through spawn. Let's try and kind of, throw a wrench in things. Nilly was there. Again, a play that I don't think was supposed to happen, but it did happen. It was a good one for OR Esports, but a good one for our first game here in the final series, the last chance of the last chance qualifier. We wouldn't expect it to go any other way, and obviously we have some more for you guys, as we know that it's kind of a run back of our first 2 maps. Pearl first, Fracture next. It's obviously gonna be after this short break, but before we go, we gotta give some love over to our friends over at eBay, just to let you guys know, if you need anything, you want to try and rock the same gear that maybe these pros are rocking here, you can save up to 50% off the latest gear, right? With free shipping on top brands like Microsoft, Razer, HyperX, and more. You can find everything you need at the right price, and you can check it out now over at pks.gg/eBay. So while you guys are doing that, we're going to rest and refit. The players are going to do the same. We're going to get the lobby set up, and we'll see you guys for Fracture.
Yo, check it out. Want to know if the price of those Wave Runners is too good to be true? Or if I Wear My Kicks 49 is truly selling dead stocks? Or if that Jordan 1 Royal Box is original? eBay checks. See that little blue check mark? Behind it is a team of independent authenticators who check. And we mean everything. Every tongue, check. Every toe box, check. Every corner of every box, check, 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 check. Every logo, every label, every lace loop. Yeah, it's checked.
the luster of the leather, the topography on the tags, to the straightness of the stitching on the sole. Everything you can see, and even some things you can't.
Really?
Then they tag them, log them in the system, box them up, and ship them out, with no cost for the buyer or seller. eBay checks, so the moment you open that box is as real gets.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.
Welcome back, Valorant fans, to the last chance qualifier here for the North American VALORANT Challengers, where our final two teams are right in the middle. They're in the thick of it, duking it out for the final spot, as we've got Sonics taking on OR Esports. We're one map in where we went 23 rounds on Pearl. A comeback was imminent, but OR was able to close it out, and we've got our stats for that last one, so we can quickly run through that one, Keg, get the viewers caught up who are just joining us, and then get on in to Fracture.
Yeah, a lot of big strengths here. You can see it right here. First picks going heavily in OR's favor. Heavily.
Well, that was the decider yesterday. Squirtle Squad, both maps, had more first kills. So for OR Esports to flip that script, that's huge.
And we talked about that mid-game, too, that OR just looked a lot more refined and a lot more faster than yesterday. And I think a lot of that had to do with them seeing their loss on Squirtle Squad, going back, reviewing the footage, and being like, okay, let's fix this up. Let's do things differently. And a lot of it wasn't even like big picture changes from OR's side. They were employing the same exact strats. It just looked a lot more concise in how they wanted to execute it. And one big factor I think had to do with Nilly. We've been talking about Nilly ad nauseum. But I mean, the potential anti-flash turret, looking to like every single vector of a site that you could. It's just small little pieces like that lead to a much larger puzzle. And that could be now OR having a map lead.
Yeah, and you know what? You said that we talked about Nilly ad nauseum. In my notes,
keep going.
In my notes, in writing into this one, I wrote for Nilly, had an off day. Yesterday was probably the worst day we've seen out of Nilly AZ. And that feels horrible because he's usually doing great things for the team. So for him to have such a slow day yesterday when it mattered the most, he really needed to step up today, and he did just that. He showed us not only in MVP for the team with kills, combat score, first kills being 5, by the way, but you can look at a couple of rounds that the lockdown was just so important. You can look at the Stinger round. You can look at the 2 lockdown rounds where he buys time and Sonics can't actually hit a site properly. They run all the way back to A, they lose that round. The very last round of the game, right, where it's a lockdown down, spraying through, everybody has to back away, they're scrambling to get the... Nilly had such a good map 1, and that's exactly what OR Esports needed, because he did not show up yesterday, but he's making up for it today.
And see, I'm glad you brought that up too, that Nilly had an off day, because Nilly being that Sentinel role is paramount and so important for the 2 maps they had to play yesterday. I would say Fraction Pearl right now might be the most Sentinel heavy maps you could possibly play. And Nilly underperforming, it just leads to a cascading effect of not doing well for the rest of the team. But Nilly did step it up today. Nilly did well on Pearl. The only issue is that Nilly has to keep that consistency up too, going to what is also a very important Sentinel map. We're going to Fracture next. A big deja vu moment from yesterday leading into today. But for Sonics, this is a very important map, because every time they've gone up against OR, or back when they were called Stealing Lunch Money, they've never won a series over OR. But every deciding map too was Fracture, and they never won it.
So we've got this again, underdog story of the lower bracket run from Sonics. They've collected 6 heads on their mantle. They need a 7th, and they've already done it. We've already seen them right their wrongs, losing series against teams and winning a rematch series. So we'll see if they can do the same. As we've got our agents ready as we head out towards Fracture to take a peek. Now, the change here, and I'm wondering if it changes. I wonder if we play a bit more comfortable, because Nilly looks so good on the Killjoy, and the Killjoy can still do a lot here on Fracture. But nope, he'll lock in the Cypher anyways.
Yeah, I was going to push back on that, because I think Nilly's a really good Cypher on this map. I mean, you could look at any Fracture game in LCQ, and you could talk about the Cyphers and their impact defensively on B site all day long. But Nilly was a really good really good pioneer of that way earlier on in qualifiers, but no real changes here. In fact, we have a mirror mode matchup. I'm not really expecting anything too different. We were actually seeing a big 20% increase in Killjoy picks at the beginning of Open Quals. But by the time we're down here on Fracture, it's pretty much Cypher City. And you know what? Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm glad our boy's getting the time to shine now.
Yeah, I don't know. The Killjoy's so strong. The lockdown, having 200 health, is so strong. Okay, think about this, right?
I'm listening.
So what the Brimstone brings to the map is post plant in the incendiaries, able to stall on defense, the orbital strike to clear out tower when you're hitting B, to clear out generator, canteen, whatever. Now you bring a Killjoy into the equation. Now that orbital strike, it's one less tool that you have. Because you'll have to use it to stop the lockdown, you won't just be able to use it on tower to clear out the site, right? I think it really makes the Brimstone players think about how they use their orbital strike. I have to stop talking about it, though, because we don't have a Killjoy here. What we do have is the map is ready. The players are ready to get underway. It's do or die here for Sonics as they're down a map against OR Esports, and we'll see if they can get the wind in their sails as they start on the attack.
Sure, there's no Killjoy, but it does change the dynamic of the map and how attackers play it. Now, the only team that's been able to be the exception here is the Nation. They're not playing right now, so we don't have to worry about them, but they were oftentimes engaging on tower immediately into a round. Most other attacking teams don't. But it's looking like it's going to be Deathball versus Deathball again, Tanner. That 0 point may give away Pure, and it does. Oh no, here it comes.
And they're quick to take this space. Zeldris, quick to find that shot. I love this adjustment, though. They try and back away from it. They wanted to keep their numbers. They didn't want to bite off more than they can chew. And although Sonics battle back for one, Jonah's there to trade it out again. So a player ahead or, and they just back away and they look to play this man advantage.
And you would think this would be an escape factor here for SQ. They could rotate anywhere they want, but they're choosing to go back over to A. A minute left on the clock, and Pure, he was originally 0 pointed. Everyone else is backed off. Jonah's looking for that first contact outside of A main. The jump peek spots him out. Paint nade goes down. So much utility again.
Okay. Pure R goes nuclear here in the pistol round to leave it all up to Nilly, the guy we hyped up. Unfortunately, he has been flat backed by Mina, and Sonics somehow, some way take the pistol.
Good lord. I mean, that was at a big deficit in the beginning too for SQ. They were on the back foot. OR over-engaged. They found the opening pick, but it just wasn't enough. And now this is where the big point in contention comes into play. This is where the Cyphers start to shine. We see already the anti-lurk tripwires coming down, but Nilly's going to be setting up on A site. This is not the right read, at least just yet. We don't know if Sonic is going to rotate back and forth like other attackers have on this map. But it's another death ball. A big aggressive lead outside of Arcade. There is that sky smoke in the way, but luckily it does allow enough time for Jonah to farm the orbs. He's getting closer to that null command, but not there just yet. The 0 points have been out for at least the defense. Sox, though, still have their own, but they're just farming orbs right now. And look on the mini-map. OR, they're going for this slow rotate back over to A, and for one of the first few times we can see it, this is actually the right read for a full team rotate. All of SQ right up on the top of Satellite there. At any moment, we should be seeing Pure just blast pack out to the top of tower, and it's up to these three down below it. Who could be ready? It's silent. And you can tell Jonah's ready for that blast pack, but is it gonna come?
Oh, the 0 point reveals so much. They still want to hit it, though. 3 players revealed on that. Mina gonna find the first. He pushes on through, drops from, well, drop. And now Mina and Pure have had themselves the majority of the kills on the round. Lear finally dealt with after trading back the Classic in 34 health in a 1v4. It's the best spot for Zeldris to be in. He's got no real reason not to just throw caution to the wind and send it, but he can hope for some economic damage as he taps once. That Bulldog, no way! 4 dinks from the Classic, 4 headshots for 20 health. What a trade from Zeldris. It's not gonna be enough to win the round, but this guy always makes it look cool. He almost killed Pure R too.
There's 2 on a single HP left. It's up to Rooney though, to be the one to clutch out the site, and he is. That was so close. And that was all Zeldris. It wasn't economic damage, but it was definitely a statement made. Good lord. That could have been one of the greatest clutch-ups we could have seen this year. But it came so close. That was almost a 1v3.
No, that got scary, and although he didn't find kills, there's still economic implications to that, right? Because so many players were low health that you have to rebuy shields into this round. So good damage overall from Zeldris, more than you could have hoped for in that situation. Although now he has to try and get out of dodge. Paint shells out, and 2 players were too many for Pure R to deal with. Although they were stunned up, it's Pure R who gets taken down.
And Sonic's having these overwhelming forces. It does allow the mirror mode match for Lear to take down Rooney. Not a lot of flashes left for Sonic to work with. They do have Shonk though. But now they're stuck inside of A main. Nowhere to go. Any option left is going to meet into a gunfight. Respecting that tripwire though, it's the defensive backing. Just waiting to see if anyone over-rotates, but the answer is no. Everyone on Sonic's left are inside of sand. They're trying to go one step at a time. As a singular unit, waiting for someone to overextend. Zeldris making a lot of noise to be that distraction. Being like, hey, I'm over here. Don't worry about top tower. I'm right here. But no one's top tower. Instead, it's waiting for Zeldris to be that opening pick, and Nilly and company, Lear down below, to find that 1v3.
One enemy remaining.
Okay. All right, Lear. All right, Lear. He's going to cap off the sheets flawless. And yeah, I love that play. Because they had that high-low, I was thinking, okay, Zeldris, you were just going to get spammed, right? Top site, you're jump peeking. But even if he is getting spammed, the play was always Lear will swing and find those kills, whether it be main and Sands, and was out towards Sands, sprays down all 3 for the flawless round. That was just the bonus, but even coming back into this one, what's supposed to be the full buy round because of, again, the economic implications of the damage Zeldris did with the Classic, Mina's on a stinger.
Flash.
Look at all these pings in the minimap right now for OR. They had the right read about tower. Jonah's up there. And again, that singular unit of Sonic's -1 on the lurk. They're playing it slow and they're very silent. They're not going to take rope just yet. They don't want to give themselves away, but there is that tripwire. And Sonics are in deep right now. It's going to be so hard to rotate out. Sky Smoke's underway. Opening pick not coming out just yet, but it's Pure to find it. Pure versus Pure. Another fall. That's full B-site control. Orbital Strike suddenly out of nowhere doesn't find anybody. That was for top of tower. But Sonic's now safe for the rotate and for the post plant. They have full site control and there's nothing left for OR to take over. They're not even making an aggression towards B. They're playing for the save. Full utility too. Luckily though, Lear does have Rolling Thunder. Zeldris is so close to getting Showstopper, and that's why he might be playing aggressive outside A main. Maybe looking for exits here. But this is the Sonics I think we were looking to see for a little bit on this map now. They're playing much faster than before. Pop executes, playing as that singular unit, and Pure there finds a little bit more damage. Lear falls. It's gonna lead Zeldris quite literally on an island, surrounded. The world's closing in on him, but at least he doesn't get taken down by the spike. Gets to keep that Vandal. A little bit of extra money in their pockets, but a really convincing round from Sonics.
Yeah, that's the round that you need to see again. The Stinger not even needed. Pure R really taking matters into his own hands. Clearing out the site, helping clear out tower. Shonk was there to find that kill onto Jonah 6, I believe, as well. They did invest that Orbital Strike just to make sure that it was all clear. So that hurts a little bit that, you know, not a whole lot of value out of that. So Nerve going to be working his way back to that one. Nerve also having a pretty uncharacteristic day. He hasn't been able to be a lineup Larry. And although he was so much more than that the other day because his rifle was so good with the Astra and the Viper, he's been a bit more quiet. So we'll see if he starts to maybe shake off some of the rust, not playing for the last couple of days. Map number 2 might become his map. Zeldris plays the high ground. This is such a scary position for Sonics to have to deal with, and we'll see if he can see over the top of the Sky Smoke. For now, it's farming simulator here.
Yeah, just, you know, farming the orbs. They grow naturally. GMO free. Looking good right now. There is that tripwire at the top of Satellite, though. That's going to be, again, a little bit trickier to get past than we had seen the last execute from Satellite. It has to be destroyed. I don't think you can blast back over that effectively without making too much noise. Look at Nilly, right below Satellite. This is a great read, but they are choosing to back off here. We're looking at maybe a 1v4, depending on Nilly's positioning.
Oh, no, Nilly lets it slip away. So unfortunate. Lear was able to get one back, but swiftly traded. I mean, that right there was an Uncle Rico throw if I've ever seen one. Mina could throw a football over the mountains. I believe it after he tossed out that hat. Still looking for some extra damage. That spike continues to tick. The trades are back and forth, but you cannot afford to trade 1-for-1 anymore when you're 1 player down. Now make it 2 players down as Jonah, the bank account, calling him, saying, hey, you do not have the funds for this, so he will back away and look to hang on to that Phantom.
Yeah, what a good fast push again from Sonics. They did take a little slow in the early game. They put a lot of utility pressure on B. They rotate back over the satellite, and again, the blast packs from Pure have yet to be contested. Whether that's him going to the top of that small little tower on A site, or even just below Black Box on Sands, somehow Nilly didn't find that shot, but when you have that big, gigantic, like, ball of meteor pretty much crashing down on you, how can you expect to shoot a meteor? But that was a great showstopper coming out from Sonics, and it cleared out so much space for them to take over the site. And so far, both sites really have been super effective for the team that they can choose to go wherever they want. It's more so just trying to figure out where they think the majority of OR could be and finally try to win out these rounds more. But big 4-stack outside of B site here. Not the right read against Sonics, though. It's a fast push back over, and it's going to leave Jonah in a precarious spot. He now has to escape to the top of satellite and just remain hidden.
Spike drop.
Hey, he is the guy that needs to stay alive, right? The only rifle on the team, and if not stay alive, at least die in a position where his teammates can retrieve this rifle. That's exactly what he's doing. Like you mentioned, Keg walks away from it all. Nobody on the top side of the map. It's all 5 on the south side of Fracture, 4 on the site. And I mean, they're going hunting for more. It looks like it's OR esports season here for Sonics.
Oh, Mina. Oh, Mina, there you go. Good for 1, and already in the back lines of spawn. Sonics, they've taken everyone down except for the only person with a rifle, but at least showing to make sure it's not a flawless round. But unfortunately, it doesn't go beyond just a single kill. Nerf falls. And Sonics, again, they have yet to really meet much opposition for OR, and we're getting similar strides, similar beats from what we had yesterday, Tanner. OR, they had a close game on Pearl, and it was close on Fracture too, but it was a big lead difference for them in the beginning. And Sonics right now, every time they faced against OR, even before they were signed, this was always a losing map for them, but they've surely cleaned up their act. So we have to put on Coach Keg, Coach Tanner outfits right now. We have our suits on. You actually had a suit that was exactly like mine. We were both going to wear light gray. But, you know, it's okay. You put on your coaching outfit. Perfect. So what does OR do here? Because we've been seeing them gamble stack on a variety of sites trying to read early on for Sonics, but oftentimes they're finding themselves in these situations where they're forced to rotate mid-round, which generally isn't that big of a deal, but it puts them in off positions where Sonics are just able to get 1, 2, maybe even sometimes a 3K per player, depending on the site, where they're just completely uncontested. But with 15 seconds left before we get into round 7, we'll have to wait and see what the adjustment can be this time. I do like that tripwire at the top of satellite. It slows down Sonics for at least a little while, and maybe even has them second guess a little bit on what the next play can be. But they do have the right read here about the 2.5 stack outside of A site. There is that floater of Lear, and he's the half who kind of bounces between both A and B. But it's that slow descent over, and I like Zeldris here as that first point of opposition. Not gonna expect that operator. Oh, maybe they do. It's a little late for the swing, but Zeldris escapes. He's got that nade just in case. It won't destroy Nilly's tripwires anymore.
Powerless.
Ooh, that flash didn't actually land. Zeldris could see it all clear as day. He'll take the life right out of Pure R. Nilly holding it down on the site here. One just underneath, but dealt with this shonk. No more pulses, means no more resurrection. The null command has since fallen off. Paint shells out to Rudy. Rudy's been undetected. Now he'll be known. The vault line caught him on his feet. Zeldris starts the round a little sleepy, but picks up 3 to wake up the rest of the defense, and OR esports get it done. But Keg, I don't know if that is the answer, right? You can't expect Zeldris to do that every single round, to dodge the flash, to hit the shots for 3 of them, for Nilly to go undetected. This takes a lot. I think what was working yesterday for Squirtle Squad is what Sonics are doing today, where they're saying, hey, OR esports, they don't rotate for actually anything. They're so comfortable in playing retake, so let's bully them on the sites because we know we're going to have an advantage. If we move with 4, we know it's either going to be a 4v2 or a 4v3, and that's exactly what they're doing because Or takes so long to rotate, and actually, they don't fight for space either. They just sit on. What I would love to see from more esports is another round like that from Zeldris, but also, when some time is off the clock, start taking that space back. We're already seeing it from Zeldris. He's already walked his way up towards A main. I would love to see him continue onto the bottom side of the map and just post up so the rotation isn't free. But we go Rolling Thunder for Rolling Thunder, and unfortunately, I might be speaking for a bit too long as the action's about to kick off, but it's stalled for now. Oh, beautiful spray. No way. Pure gifted 2 kills, and he wants some more as he tosses down the stem. Rooney, Nerve, Mina, the 3 that stand against the 5, and Mina stands no longer. It's Zeldris to take away the space to find the backstab. And now Rooney and Nerve have to go nuclear, and their positions have been revealed.
And it seems like they're listening to you right now, Tanner, because we were talking about how the surprise strats from OR coming out has been that win condition against Sonics, but it's not consistent. But now just kind of waiting for a few beats and then pushing up. We saw Zeldris take down Mina, and that was so strong to remove all those tripwires. And now look at OR. They have plenty of freedom in the southern part of Fracture now to play around and catch out these rotates just like Pure. Good for 1, making it a 4K. A beautiful Sheets flawless there for OR, and they're back in the game. But going off what you said, though, Tanner, I'm inclined to agree. We're seeing very predictable stack-ups from OR. They're going for the same rotations. And again, even though we can see everybody in the minimap, the teams in the server cannot. But they have that intuition to know the reads, know the beats again of how OR like to rotate historically, and they're not really adjusting their tempo. Instead, Sonics, they're going at a variety of different speeds, and they're using those surprise factors themselves to go up against OR. I do like Zeldris on that operator. He has been great for the opening pick every round that he's been able to have it so far. And I feel like that's a surprise strat that's slowing down Sonics drastically. Look at the respect now. Zeldris takes down that opening pick, and now Sonics aren't able to push into A anymore. They're forced to play slower and now rotate over to B, and look who's already there. It's Pure. Hot off of that 4K from before, already ready with that orbital strike for going for yet another. Molly goes down prematurely though, Nerve. Still looking for those gunfights blind. Zeldris, propped up on a literal sniper's tower looking for Rooney. Has the right idea. For the southern part of the map now, Tanner, there's no way for Sonics to push in without taking a fight.
Paint shell stall, aftershock. Not getting a whole lot done. Keep off the site for now. Lear, this is Lear's domain underneath heaven. He just feels so good as the rocket from downtown will sever Nerve. A flawless round again, courtesy of Sheets, and it's Zeldris, the tip of the spear once more.
This is so good. OR just feels so much more comfortable now in this server, and I think a lot of that has this freedom for Zeldris to kind of just be wild and go hunt for the opening pick. Find the beginning, find the end, find all the operator shots you want. That's what OR have been really using as their leverage. And so Sonic's on the timeout now. I feel like a lot of what they're talking about has to be, how do we avoid Zeldris in the beginning? And it's not even as simple as don't peek Zeldris. Remember, when the first round Zeldris got an operator, he was completely hidden. Well, okay, he was moderately hidden. He was playing an off angle looking in the satellite. It was Pure who strafed into him, immediately backed down, was like, no, I'm not dealing with that. So then what happens is Zeldris backs away, hidden from the field of view from satellite, avoids the fault line from Rooney, and then re-engages off of a blast packing Pure. You cannot expect an op shot to connect there every time. But the problem is, though, Zeldris is really dang good at it. He's so good about finding that opening pick no matter the situation. And so again, what do you have to do to counteract Zeldris here? He's 11-5 now, Tanner.
Yeah, and it's hard because it's not just Zeldris. Like, sure, yes, Zeldris is going crazy, but he's also got this pocket breach that is just working so well, right? Zeldris takes the shots, paint shells out, needs to get out of dodge with the op, and it allows Lear to swing from under heaven while his teammate hides safe in heaven on the A side. So the pocket breach is also a real thorn in the side for the Sonic squad, and Now 1 round separates, 4 players stacked up here for Sonics to hit this B site. It's not the best buy. They muster up what they can, buying for next tier. Smokes come down, operator to hold the line once more. Blast pack with a shot over the shoulder. Paint shells to try and help for the delay, but getting run down as Zeldris and PRR will finally get revenge. Sheriff shot over the shoulder, just as the op shot was previously. And the neural theft for information. It allows for so much as the rotations are coming from the top side, and the Stinger holds a close angle. It's only Nilly directly here on the side as the spike continues to tick, and guess what? It's Solid Snake in the back line once more for PRR.
Tanner, look at Nerve, beautiful kill. Taking them down. Almost a mirror mode match once again. A 2v4 for the post plant. These defenders struggling now. What was a dominant round in the beginning, but now not so much. All that's left now is Pure VNS. A 1v1 against Pure, just arms the Stinger. Pure's got that showstopper. Looking to strike, doesn't connect. Yes, it does. Great for Pure. The battle of the Pures once again. Sonic's now 6 for the half. Good lord.
That was down to the wire though, Keg.
It was. And I'm surprised because I misspoke and I said this was, you know, a bit of a dominant round from OR, and it wasn't at the time. Sonics, they were able to take advantage of the fact that, well, I mean, not that they would have known. Zeldris was not looking at where the majority of the team was for the first time. And so all the sky smokes, all the chaotic utility, it prevented from that operator from succeeding. Luckily though, round still won for Sonic's side, but there we go. Fast blast pack, Pure. Assuming that maybe the buys aren't there for the operator this time around, he'd be wrong. But again, Zeldris playing out an off angle. It's up to the onus of Nilly to hold the entirety of A by himself. And even that boom bot doesn't spot out the tripwire. No one on top of tower either. Oh no. OR, Tanner, they were doing so well about being right on top of Sonics for these executes, but now they're playing safe again. I'm a little nervous. Because they were able to take these gunfights so well. And now they're giving more respect for SQ again, not pushing up, not allowing those setups. Sonics might be able to take this back again.
Smoke's down.
Yeah, seemingly trying to find control once more. Incendiary goes out. Pure VNS gonna have to try and hold onto the site. Oh no, he's actually done enough to stall, to delay. The rotations come through. And with that, Sonics look to head elsewhere, but they're going right back into the trap. Zeldris here. Nilly has the util as well. And Mina maybe not going to be the best to help his team on the site because he's got an operator in his own hands. They push through Sands. Nerve to find the first. Lear tries to do it. The dynamic duo. They trade back and forth. Lear for Zeldris. A 2 for 2, and that spike still inside main. It's Mina to push on through to try and find the plant. And he's going to be holding here on the site with an operator, Keg. This does not feel good. We'll see if he can walk his way on out. He'll find the first. He's got the camera. Bolt line comes through. Fragment at his feet, and he survives for another. Zeldris stunned up. Looks to play the blast pack. It's going to be off as the shot goes through the wall. It lands to Mina. Zeldris is insane. He's about to do it again. There's not a lot of time, though. He's got to hop onto the spike, and Rooney gonna try and play this one perfectly as he looks to peek once more. We know what Rooney can do in these positions as that shot goes wide. The Phantom spam the cross, and Zeldris is him!
Is there time? Oh, just barely enough time. A second and a half left. The stall factor, though, from Rooney was really impeccable. You could see the accuracy of those shots off of the operator. And picking up that Phantom right away. And Mina too, operator v operator. Two least likely agents you would want to see the op on both have been able to find so much damage in doing so. But that pick up the Phantom right there, that was the clutch factor for Zeldris. What a great play. And now OR, they only need this last round to tie things up 6-6. And I was so nervous for OR in the beginning of that round because again, they were playing so far back, their rotates were a little slow at times, but they were right on the money for the post plant. And now the adjustment here, pushing up a little bit more aggressive. 0 point goes down, spots all of them out, but it's not gonna stop them right away. Instead though, they back off though, after finding those initial shots. Mina's right on the other side though, Tanner. It's a big crunch yet again, but one side of the jaws is a lot stronger than the other.
Prepare for hellfire.
Orbital strike. To force Pure off his angle. They try to walk him into the spam. Unfortunately, not a whole lot found. If anything, it was actually Pure R who had taken some damage at the end of it all. And Mina has always been the player comfortable with having that lesser weaponry. We'll see if it comes to fruition as Pure R already taken off the table. A 6-6 is looking quite doable here for OR Esports.
Yeah, but Sonics is going to make that slow rotate back over. There's only 40 seconds left. We've seen what these rotates can do from Sonics. Even if it is closer to the end of the round, it is explosive. You've lost out on Pure. You can't gain that
30
immediate
seconds
space. You have to rely on utility more so here. You're nearly already finding those lines of sights, hiding away from the bullets towards the top of tower. The nades from Zeldris don't do much, but Nilly's good for that
Spike
opening pick.
down
Where are the
A.
others?
I know
Rooney
exactly
goes fishing, finds one. Jonah there to trade. Mina will grab
10
another.
seconds left.
Hat comes off, positions revealed, and they have to try and get the spike planted, but they want to try and deal with Nilly first, and they do so successfully, but you're running out of time, and there's just enough for Nerve to get that spike planted. Spam through the box. Won't find the damage. Incendiary available, but not for the next second,
One
courtesy
enemy
of
remaining.
Jonah.
Last
6
player
0
standing.
point. And I don't know if Mina was spotted. Now for sure known. As that can comes out, the reload is there, and he repositions to try and take an aggressive fight just over the top of drop. And Mina does it for Sonics. They bag the lion's share of our first half here on Fracture.
Switching side.
Oh, good vengeance too for A-Site.
Remaining.
Man, Lear, like you said, just dominating A-Site. And Zeldris was there too, of the operators, no less. But I mean, again, a big anchoring game comes out on Fracture when you're on the defense. And I'm a little surprised though, Tanner. A lot earlier on in Open Quals and LCQ, we were talking about how important Sentinel utility is for this map, but it really felt like, for the most part, it relied more so on that Breach and Brim combo. It was less about stopping power with tripwires and more so just blocking lines of sight, going for those stuns, and honestly, just swinging a whole lot and finding a ton of impact on kills. But what to do, it's OR back top satellite. Not a lot of tripwires though, coming from OR. They only bought up one. It's placed right outside of the connector from B to A. A lot of noise being made here outside of satellites. Definitely tell Mina's very well aware of them now. Sky Smoke goes on top. But farming orbs is so important on this map. You have more orbs on this map than any other. And because of that, it's easy to get those early ultimates. And feeding them to whoever you can is so good. But back over to Arcade, an early push here. OR love to go for this early play. Shonk is well aware of that too and chooses to back off, waiting for maybe that blast pack after those paint shells come out, but it hasn't yet. Pure's got a great angle for the first contact though.
Boombot doesn't find too much. Pure atop the box. Decapitates one, but will fall himself. So we trade back and forth, 1 for 1. As a site not yet free. Nilly making it look just a bit more so as Mina finds one through the Sky Smoke. Cam doesn't necessarily grab the tag, so no extra information
30
to be
seconds
found
left.
off that one. The spike is planted for
planted.
free. And a 3v3 here. A couple of members chipped away. Rooney and Nerve both sitting at 74 health. And on the opposite side, 70 stands for Jonah and Nilly. And they're all on the top side. A swap for the pistols. The right click doesn't land. Jonah happy to send 2 into the body of Mina and sit the Cypher down. Now the fault line comes through. Is Rooney gonna hop off to the spike? And it's just so overwhelming from OR Esports.
Another round in their pockets, getting ever closer to tying the game up yet again. We saw a close game on Pearl, and then a lead-away charge for OR. And if they're able to convert this next round, they have the better weapons here. They may very well tie it up. Sonics, though, they have to play this very cautiously. They can't buy as much utility as they normally could. They only have Sheriffs to work with. And Pure does have their nades. No Boombot either. But that was a really good take from OR. They were able to convert out a lot of that linear aggression outside of Arcade. And he collapsed on the site. Now the response here from SQ, playing right outside B main yet again. Maybe trying to catch out OR before they can make their way fully in the A lobby. But that tripwire, again, in the way. Mina's choosing to respect it. 0 Point doesn't spot anybody, at least on the corners of A. No one pushed up aggressively there. Allows a free take for the orb. Sonics themselves, at least they have a presence on A. Nerve is by themselves. Everyone else on the extremities. Choosing to hide, looking to use that Sky Smoke as a friend to help the push out. And maybe buying time for those on the lurk, especially Mina. Pings go down. There's no action just yet from OR. Everyone's at a standstill right now, Tanner.
Cooling down.
These pings are good, but it doesn't amount to much. This 0 point, though, should lead the charge. It's gonna spot out Nerve. Can't use that utility anymore. He's already been suppressed, but now there's the entry. Zeldris is on top of the site.
And Zeldris all the way out. Not even the player that dealt with Nerve. Purar next up to the plate, and unfortunately he struck out as Rudy gets one back. Headshot lands. Oh, the Sheriff does its job in taking down one, but an anti-eco that goes as expected. Or Esports explode onto A, and they tie us up at 7.
And it was just such a blink of an eye of a round. We were hyping up this execute, and then boom, you blink for a microsecond, the round is over. Everyone's just gone. And we talked about how important these rifle rounds are. This is, again, possibly one of the last true real tests for Sonics here. They have their full armor, well, they have their full rifles, but they don't have full shields. And look at how little utility can be bought by some. No fragma grenade for Shang. Mina's able to full buy all of their utility. But again, aggression's met with aggression here. Sonics have been able to find a lot more impact with that. But again, it amounts to nothing. Instead, OR choose to back away, re-engage so far pretty much in their own spawn. But Sonics are already well on their way to rotating A. It's what they've grown to expect from OR and how they play their attacking rounds. But they might be in for a big surprise, Tanner. Especially Pure, looking the wrong way. Waiting for somebody to approach on Arcade that will never come. But at least now there's a friend. Pure has Shank to work with.
Gets the paint shells out just in time. 0 point for the info as to how many are playing on this site. But look at this. The rotations come through for the defense, sure, but Nilly's calling over the Cavalry. Says, guys, this one's free. Let's take this here. Tosses out the cage. Try and block Vincent. Rooney, though, quickly at the cage. Pops. So does the Grape of Nilly AZ.
Planted.
And look at that full side control now in the favor of OR. Only Sands is hotly contested for the defense. They have to take re-control of this before they can approach the site. Though the only one on site right now is Lear, armed with nothing but a Sheriff to try to take everybody else down. It's up to this 2-1 split for Mina and Nerve. They'll use this effectively to take down Lear, but he's dodging, weaving, dodging everything and taking down Mina. Both Cyphers are gone.
And the dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Lear's still alive, and there's 4 players worrying about this one guy playing on top of the spike. Now Nerve gonna hop on, try and stick to the fuse. Look at Rooney starting to cut him down, but the incendiary didn't buy enough time. The spike is taking its halfway. Low HP, no way! Jonah's able to get it done with .11, and it's an eBay clutch for OR Esports.
In the time it took you to say eBay clutch, it was, Mike, it was so many tenths of a second. That's how long it took in between the round deciding factor. Unbelievable. And look at Rooney again. This post-plant spray, the triple there, or the double, held out so effectively of just keeping Sonics at bay. But, or OR at bay, I should say. But, oh, now OR take that small lead. They're ahead by a single round. And again, these are coming down to the wire much more than before. It's the true last chance for Sonics now that they've squandered that away. If they keep losing this lead even more and more, they might be completely out by losing out 2-0 for the series. Rooney's already down by 1. A full thrifty round coming out from SQ's side. They're just going for it. They're trying to find as much eco damage as they can. The kill feed looking like a Christmas tree. It's Lear finding yet another, but Zell just wastes that showstopper. And all that's left now is Mina with a stinger. Some economic damage was found though, Tanner. 3 left alive for Mina to deal with. And right in the arcade, this is perfect for the spray for a stinger.
Yeah, Zeldris low in HP too. He could find another one, deal some extra damage. You should know that 2, if not 3, are pushing their way through tower. He's gonna work his way up the ropes. Knife is out, another kill found. Jonah falls. Spike is planted in the aftershock to keep Mina from walking over towards site, so he'll wait this one out. Now we'll see. OR Esports, they double up inside tower, but they're looking to give ones over to this stinger, and we know how strong it can be. Fault line out, 54 HP and stunned up as he hops back into the cam. Nobody's on the other site, buddy. They're right here in front of ya. And Zeldris will close it out with 3 kills on it, working back towards that showstopper.
Yeah, and let's talk about how in a 2v1, still we didn't see any overextension from OR. It easily could have been the factor that Raze could rotate from the bottom of rope and try to go for a mini flank against Mina, but instead, OR chose to play it safe. They held top of tower, they knew they could both watch each other's backs, and Mina was limited in options by all of Breach's utility. Aftershock made sure that there was only a linear path, top of tower. Mina opted not to go there, but it reduced the amount of options Cypher could have in the post plant. And because of that, OR now take the lead by 2 rounds. Another rifle round again in the favor of SQ. Pure's close again, though, to that showstopper. In fact, almost everybody in SQ either have their ultimate or just a few orbs away from getting it in their possession. That's going to make the rest of the game a lot more hairy, depending on how they manage their ultimate economy. Same can't really be said for OR. Few close calls for their ultimates to be gained, but again, the eyes right now on Sonics. They're choosing to have a lot of floaters here. Almost a 4-stack over the B, and this would be the right read against OR. But those tripwires are divided out between both sides, and that one's placed so far back, it's practically for an arcade push. And that means all that pressure is going to be on to Shunk. A little bit on Pure too. Make that a triple contact onto the site. It's all a game of hiding. And appearing at the very last possible second.
Pure with the high ground. He's stunned, however. Shonk, now would be a time to show up. The best time possible. Picks up his 2. Pure will grab his 1. He waits out the fault line stun. Now Nilly wants to go aggressive into Canteen, but Rooney swiftly deals with that. Sonics, although we were at a lull in the round for quite some time, they've snapped out of their lull and are looking to find their 8th. The only person standing in their way is Jonah 6.
At best right now, if you're OR, you're trying to get Sonics to use their ultimates here on a 1v4. It's not going to happen, but that's like the most miracle play you could possibly hope for. Mina taking a wealth of damage. The fault line hitting from below the site. And yeah, a bit of a quiet round there. But Sonics do reclaim their first round in quite some time. They only need 1 more to tie it up, and yeah, ever since we swapped sides, it's been a 4 round streak for OR. They're really good about converting these rounds, and Sonics, now that they have their rifles back, they're able to find a little bit more stability. And I can only imagine with this round now in their belt on top of those ultimates, they should be good about collapsing upon OR for these slow attacks more than once. But you know what? OR, they're not going to choose to swap different sites. They're going to re-engage on B main yet again. So silent. It's almost like you can hear the heartbeats of each of these players. Let me tell you, Tanner, my heart would be racing right now if I was in this match in the server.
It would be the cold, clammy, sweaty hands.
Oh, don't remind me. Ew. Like the one where you can barely touch your mouse.
Exactly. The one where you don't want to touch your mouse. I have a white mouse. This bad boy gets dirty quickly. Just things are getting messy. Here on the B site, fault line out inside the sky smoke. One will play, that's Shonk, and he's just gonna wait and bide his time and allow his teammate to cook as Pure R finds a first and delays with the paint shells off of the alt orb. Lear gonna wait for a moment, and now he's got that Rolling Thunder online.
Sky smoke is down, but already Pure's making that charge to go silent underneath the map. Nerve isn't aware of that. The jump peaks are there. And Lear's waiting for a flank that will never come.
30 seconds
Mina's
left.
by themselves on A. A 4-stack outside of B, every single angle covered. Not only just once, but twice over. And with 20 seconds left, it seems unlikely to rotate over to A. And it's a standstill. Nobody's pushing each other. Only one player has died this round. And this could be a 9-person save. Nobody's going for anything. And
chat, look away. Chat, don't chat. I don't want to hear anything from chat. What just happened in this round?
All is quiet on the fracture front. I've never seen a round like that. That's how I feel right now. Little blaster dog polar bear man. He's looking radical.
I'm speechless. It just goes to show, I guess, how important Zeldris is to this team. And if he gets spammed through smoke, the round is just over. That right there has to feel so good for Sonics to know that Zeldris is the raid boss, and all they have to do is take him down, and the rest of the players are ads, right? The rest of the players they're the
like
Jad
minions.
healers. Yeah, exactly.
Go, my minions, go! But Zeldris is leading that charge yet again. And OR had the round to spare, and we're back to a tied game. Everybody's outside arcade. Shonk is ready. And the Rolling Thunder return does disrupt Shonk. That might lead to his death, and it does.
Flash out.
A beautiful flash after 2. Shonk just couldn't wrap his head around the situation, and 2 kills go the way of Ori Esports nice and early. And it was that raid boss to find the first kill, and it's looking like a full wipe is imminent. It's Pure
I
VNS
know exactly
waiting in the wings, about to get some information. Rooney collects an alt orb. We'll find another one postpartum as Mina and Nerve now try and stabilize. Yeah, posthumously is what it is. Posthumously, excuse me.
No, I'm with it. The ghosts are in the air right now. One left alive. It's up to Mina. Trying to find those shots, but been discovered in the process. And in
30
Sonics, that
seconds
was
left.
like almost a miracle round to be able to tie things up, and they met this early round with aggression, but it backfired so much. And even with Zeldris going down, at least this time there was a response from OR. It's not too late for Mina though to make some action, but Jonah says otherwise. Double digits now, and what could very well be the final map of Last Chance Qualifiers, Tanner, goes into OR's favor. They only need 3 more to qualify.
You said that about Pearl, and Pearl got probably a little too close. He said, or esports only need 3 more, and they did eventually close it out, but got a little shaky.
That goes there.
But we like the shakiness. We want to see those upsets. We want a story to tell. And this has been a heck of a series to tell a story about. And look at this. The return of Mina up. Right outside A main. This could be good for the opening pick against Jonah. But Mina plays slow, and the 0 point affects them. They don't know about the operator, though. They don't know about Mina having that op. But regardless, though, OR might be playing directly into it. And because they were so slow, Mina has time to reposition.
Thank goodness. I wasn't sure if they were going to invest anything into getting the players off the angle here. Orbital Strike splits them up, but it doesn't do the damage. They're safe in the corners, so they'll back away from it. No harm, no foul. Mina gonna go back on the angle, still suppressed. Can't pop the cage to escape if he does get run down, but the only person to do it would have been Zeldris, and he has since been dealt with. So the cages go up. Mina gets away. Nor Esports working a player down. And hey, 2 rounds ago, this was a call to save. We'll see if it's the same.
I like this play from Jonah. He's hiding in that small box. You're not expecting that if you're a defender and you try to lurk up for the flank. Nilly, though, has a lot of action up against them, though. Shonk not able to find the shots met in response to the fault line. And nobody engages. Instead, Pure finds the fight with Jonah instead.
30 seconds left.
And, I mean, there's still 2 defenders here, though, right? Jonah's doing so much to keep them planted on this side. It's a 3v3 directly here out towards B as the fault lines come through. Aftershock to delay a push onto Lear to allow him to sneak away as we go Aftershock for Aftershock, and Nilly just trying to survive the util dump. Meanwhile, all the way out towards spawn is an orbital strike with no incendiary, now going across the top as well as Pure VNS as Nilly will find the first. He's traded out. Lear and Pure VNS now going to try and work hand in hand, both out towards Arcade. 0 point to reveal, but just in time the orbital strike comes through and Pure will find another. Pure R, however, gonna hop onto the spike, and Rooney gonna play bodyguard to try and keep him alive, but with 33 HP, he's sticking it to tie us up at 10.
Oh, all of these rounds coming so close to the wire. Pure just barely able to get that orbital strike down on Spike before the 0 point nearly took that opportunity away. It doesn't matter though. Sonics were still able to convert the round. Another defuse. Talk about Mina on the op again. That late lurk paid off in dividends because of Jonah's lurk. Jonah had such a great time with the distraction, but despite Pure being on the other side of the map for so long, it was a great attempt, but it had little impact. Pure was still able to get that defuse, and OR go for another timeout to their last one. We have to go back to our coaching outfits, Tanner, and see what's to do next. Honestly, again, even from the last time out to now, OR, they've sped up their game quite a bit. They're trying to get into those mind games and counteract Sonics and whatever oddities they want to bring out each round. But there's been less oddities other than that full 9-person save. It's more so relying on just fast execs again, looking into play for post plans almost exclusively, and how they can configure their way to find a weak spot in the defenses to push into A and push into B. And it's been working out well, Tanner, but right now, these next few rounds could change the fate of American Challengers.
That goes there.
So what's the setup going to look like here? We've been seeing a lot of satellite-based pushes. We've been seeing a lot of B-main pushes. This time, though, it's almost like a default play for OR. Spike's at the top of the map now. The only one that could be close is Mina on the operator. Satellite hasn't been contested much in the second half, but setting up for an arcade exec, Pure and company seem to be ready.
And the pocket breach for OR becomes pocket KO for Sonics. As Pure and Shonk been working hand in hand here on this B site. Nerve also here to try and stall, and it's just the Cyphers on the right side of the map out towards A. And they're back to back.
It's a
Holding for
4v4.
late lurks, 0 point out. Okay, both players spotted. Smokes are down and up towards tower. One will go. Aftershock to clear out generator. Shonk gonna try and back away, play a close angle. Holding towards arcade. Aftershock once more to stop the push. And a lot of util just to delay this, but they're trying to take the fight out of tower. Pure Van S gonna find that trade kill. Pure R still alive, however, and Smokes down now as Nerve collects that
30
kill
seconds
on
left.
Brimstone of Aura Esports, and with 30 seconds on the clock, can you even re-hit? Look at the crunch from the top side. Mina slowly but surely with the operator. Finds
One
the kill,
enemy
finds the
remaining.
spike. Rooney collects another. And now Zeldris. Zeldris has been good. And he's made it look possible with a classic, but with 12 seconds, no spike.
10 seconds left.
And Sonic's all over the place. Zeldris just forced to back away from it all.
Yeah. Again, the economy not looking great for Zeldris and company. Attempted forced to keep the rifle. It's Pure there to take down their mirror match. Sonics now 1 round away from match point to tie up the series, 1-1 maps. A showstopper to work with for OR, no ultimates at all for Sonics. And that was such an odd round because OR looked like they had site control, or at least for the most part, they gained tower. And then they chose to back the spike away. And so this might be a round 2 to Electric Bugaloo in, hopefully make sure that they can use the spike to effectively get on site this time, and there's less bodies now to worry about. Sonics, though, positioned heavily outside satellite. Mina does have that operator still, and Pure's there for the opening contact. May try to hide away. Nilly's gonna definitely focus on Mina first. What a good slay. That's Nilly to fall, and look at this. It opts into a lot more rotates. Jonah already on site.
And Jonah finds one. Stingers will help to find another. Rooney sprayed to the sky smoke, narrowly missing out on finding Lear, who's
enemy
just
remaining.
creeping through Canteen with his knife out. And Pure are happy to dispatch of those 2 attackers, now turned defenders. It's Zeldris, the only one that remains. A showstopper and a headshot. There's nobody better in these situations. Pure are gonna hold the angle. Flash goes out. A bit more HP. Satchel to try and keep him at bay. He's gonna look to deal with that. It's heaps of damage down to 69. As he continues to jiggle, he'll just be the 4th for Pure R.
And that's match point for Sonics. They played a clean retake again. They were able to read where they think that initial initiation would be. And with Nilly falling so quickly, it just
Match
opens up
point.
opportunities for Sonics to rotate around the map. So Nilly, thinking that they were safe, immediately mowed down. Wasn't a good start to the round, and the punish was a rippling effect over to the round loss. 12-10 for OR. And you're right, Tanner. I did mention that, you know, they were only a few rounds away from qualifying for Challengers, and then Sonics.
I don't know why you said that.
I
don't know why you said that,
I know.
Keg.
I'm so sorry, OR. I'm so sorry. You can blame me. It's okay. But let's see what Sonics can do. What very well could be the final round of map 2. Playing aggressive again. Mina here with the operator. Just like Zeldris when they were on the defense. consistent with these opening picks and the invisible pressure too. Man, I gotta stop talking.
Yeah, Mina unfortunately flashed up, taken down. Shonk there to trade though. Shonk having a quiet game, but again, no better time to start to come alive than right now when you can close out the map. Aftershock, just after the Rolling Thunder Orbital Strike, try and open up some space as well, and Nervous just on the other side of the Molly. He's gonna go aggressive, but he's answered by Nilly to the side of the head as a 0 point.
Too suppressed.
Will confirm 2 suppressed, but will also slow down the util from the initiators at the very least for the next few seconds with the spike planted or esports. And a great spot to hold on to this. No post plan available now for Pure as he's tossed out the Molly.
Showing us left on an island. Pure trying to hide, does take down the other Pure, the showstopper no longer there. OR keep it in the game, a great round win, 11-12. Finally, the arcade execute works well, and a lot of that had to do with the opening initial flash. We're not seeing OR really take advantage of these flashes early round, and very rarely have they actually converted into an opening pick. That being said though, a great util dump from top arcade, disrupted Mina, lost the operator, lost their life. And now Rooney does have that Rolling Thunder. Can be great for the post plan here. We couldn't quite see Pure use that showstopper, but Zell just has one now instead. Aggression met with aggression outside B, but it's the wrong angle. Immediate showstopper to the top of tower. Fault line though, stopping Zeldris in his tracks. Oh, Mina. Oh, Mina again! 2 showstoppers in a round, no longer effective.
Oof, and a good angle to play spam through the sky smoke, but nothing there. Unfortunate that those smokes were just a second late and Zeldris could not get the rocket off. A beautiful fault line from Rooney. Made sure that he was slowed in his tracks. Pure now flashed up. They're trying to play the cross here. Here's that Rolling Thunder you mentioned earlier in the round. We'll see if Nilly gets dealt with. No, he'll find one. But you have to go positive on these trades. You can't go even. You're already a player down as Orbital Strike forces the player forward. Now Pure, the last one standing. Incendiary at his back. He'll look to take the fight. A rifle in the hand for Mina, and Sonics have done it. The last round of regulation. They finally collect their thoughts. They retake the site. And they push us to a map 3.
Oh,
Defenders
the
win.
first time Sonics have ever won Fracture against OR. It was a long time coming. Every series, a slam dunk for OR, or stealing lunch money from way back when. But now the tides have turned. It was a dominant map 1, a reverse dominance of map 2, and now we're coming down to the equalizer of Bind to see who can take it out up top. And I gotta say, operators were kind of the MVP for this map, I want to say. We've been seeing so much Fracture in last chance qualifiers, but not really ever as op heavy as this one. And the strength of that weapon in of itself, everyone who's played Valor ever knows. But the way it was used specifically here to shut down a lot of entries for these attackers was a strong pivotal point, especially for Sonics in their defensive half, to stifle OR. I mean, that one round when there was a 9-person save, wasn't that based off of an operator play in the beginning? And if it wasn't, it was such a great way of shutting down OR before the round could even start.
Yeah, I also want to mention, I meant to do it on Pearl. I don't think we got to see it on Pearl, but the thorn in the side for OR when they were playing Pearl yesterday against Squirtle Squad was the Cypher op, right? It was the harmful op. And once Mina got an op in his hands, it seemed pretty difficult, right? It wasn't just necessarily the op, but having so many options for it, whether it be Pure R or Mina for that Sonic squad, it just makes sense that their defense becomes eventually lockdown defense. And fortunately, they've blessed us, Keg, with a map 3. Obviously, fighting for this last spot, these two teams, it just makes sense that we have a third one, and that third one will be Bind. But before we go, we want to give thanks to our friends over at ZedX for being a partner for this event. And if you often feel you're losing control of your gaming controller thumbsticks, Daznarth, I'm looking at you. ZedX thumbsticks grips give you an unprecedented grip and increased radius for increased accuracy. And they're available for low rise, high rise, or medium rise. And they fit on your PS4, your PS5, your Switch Pro, or your Xbox controllers. So you guys can check them out. They're available now at Amazon.com/ZedX. And while you guys are doing that and getting yourself some thumb grips, we're going to hop away and get things set up, and we'll catch you guys over at the teleporters on Bind.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Welcome back, Valorant fans, and thank you for joining us for our last map of the Valorant North America Challengers Last Chance Qualifier between Sonics and OR Esports. My name is still Tanner Metro. That much has not changed. I'm still working alongside Keg. That has also not changed. What does change is the setting and the landscape for our series as we look to head out towards Bind. We can briefly take a peek back at what happened on Fracture, which another map that essentially goes the distance. Well, that one actually did go the distance. We had a 13-10, this one followed by a 13-11, and hey, guess what? The team with the most first kills ended up getting the dub.
And I mean, we talked about that going before the break. A lot of it was operator-based towards the latter half of the game, and I gotta say, very impressed. A lot of long lines of sight that could be taken advantage of, and we didn't really get to see a lot of that in LCQ, but come around Sonics, they've had a very different game, and they've also defeated a bit of a Goliath for themselves. This is the third time they've gone up against Stealing Lunch Money, or now signed as OR, and almost every decider map they've had in each series they played against this team, it always ended on Fracture and them losing. Now Sonics, they're looking pretty good going to map number 3. Both these teams on Bind have very similar win rates. They've both been very successful on these maps. In fact, even looking now, both the teams have only lost Bind twice into Open Quals and Last Chance Qualifiers. But the stats, oh lord, 2 pures back-to-back together. And I gotta say, having a duelist as one MVP and a controller as the other tells 2 very different stories about these teams. Sonics looked great for their attack, and OR, despite having, losing on their defensive side, I was, losing a little bit more rounds on their defense. I was really impressed about how they would hold sight still.
Yeah, Pure R having himself a game here on Fracture, a player that I have been hyping up that needs to perform and did exactly that to drag his team across the finish line. Obviously, everybody else doing their part, but 27-13 feels pretty darn good, especially from your duelist player with 7 of those first bloods. I believe it was 14 total for Sonics. So half of those going the way of Pure R. And now we kind of set our eyes to a different map, right? We set our eyes to a map that we're going to be saying farewell to soon here, very soon rather, that map being Bind. And if you guys know anything about the map ahead of us, it's a okay map for both of these teams. I think their record in January isn't the worst in the world, but things get a little cringe because we know that as soon as that spike gets planted for Sonics, they like to play the lineups, and they got Larry on the team. They got Nerve is Larry.
Larry Nerve. I love that guy. Love him to death. So, well, okay then, Tanner, what should we expect to see with those lineups? Are we going to be seeing a lot more, early game aggression than we saw on Pearl and Fracture, which hasn't really been the style for either one of these teams consistently, or is it going to be that slow burn of a round that's been pretty much all of LCQ into that post plant where you have lineups for forever?
Yeah, I mean, so what we saw from Sonics was slamming the A site. I believe Pure R's playing the Sage, slam the A site, get the wall up, get the spike down, let Nerve cook. The rest of it is just whatever, right? What we want to see on the opposite side is fighting for A short, not giving that up for free, which we know is very possible from Aura Esports, with Zeldris on the operator, atop the truck, whatever it may be, just making sure that they can't just walk up and get that Sage wall down. And if they do, you can't just run down short and look to take those fights, right? You need to be extending through showers. You need to pressure Nerve from different angles. If you do have players short, you definitely want somebody to be on the backstab as well, which we saw a little bit yesterday in Breeze matches, where Nerve was looking to go back and play lineups, was completely unexpecting somebody to actually be fighting in this lineup spot, and Sonics were losing rounds because of it. So, yeah, I would love to see that from more esports. Just aggression. You cannot let Sonics, especially if they're on the attacking side, you cannot let them walk up and plant on A, because then the round is really no longer in your hands.
We got to get our lungs ready then if it's just going to be round after round of team-wide gunfights. I mean, I like that though, because Bind is one of the smallest maps in the game, and I just messed up my hair, but it's one of the smallest maps in the game. Pearl is sort of like a larger version of Bind without teleporters. You can rotate a lot, but it comes down to that effectiveness factor where less so on the defensive team where you can rotate non-stop. These attacking teams for Bind can just use the teleporters if they face any overwhelming opposition. How effective those teleporters can be, that's really something we have to find out once we get into the server, but for a lot of teams historically, it's been hit or miss, and I really want to see those lineups come to fruition. It might get predictable after a while because a lot of these teams are relying a lot of their strats on counterplay, and if they start recognizing that, Tanner, those lineups might not be as effective, say, come 6 or 7 rounds in.
Yeah, and listen, if I'm talking about the lineups and I'm noticing kind of the patterns that's being set, so is everybody else, okay?
Yes.
I'm fine to be the dumbest guy in the room. I'm fine to be the dumbest guy in the chat. And that happens, all right? So there's definitely going to be, so the adaptation that I want to see, now that I think about it, and we can take a peek at our agent select to see what we lock in as we head out towards this map is, if you're Sonics, slam that A site, get that wall down, hit that teleporter, go elsewhere, right? Because we know that is the play that Aura Esports should be expecting. So yes, some adaptations using those teleporters and making plays around the map. I would absolutely love to see that as we look to get things locked on in. We'll see if Pure actually decides to go with the Brimstone. Okay, very strong in the post plant as well with the Incendiary. Also having that orbital strike, much like you see on Fracture, right? You're clearing out a lot of these areas. Out towards Hookah, elbow on B. You've got the U-Haul clear as well. So I like the Brimstone pick. It's a little bit different than what we usually see. And wait, Mina's actually switching it up, locking in the Brimstone as well.
Yep. That's a little different from what we normally see, but keep in mind too that for Bind, Sentinel utility does take a bit of a backseat because of how condensed and close the site can be. It's easy to destroy utility, and when you have double controllers, it can already be hard to find that effectiveness, but there is a silver lining. We do have a Sage for our side, Tanner, but sort of like Icebox, Viper can be really good at taking on that Sentinel mantle depending on where you're playing. Those snake bites are great at slowing people down. The Viper's orb on this map is notorious for the one-way potential, but we don't have to wait much longer. We're just about ready to get into the map. I want to see what Vipers can do here. The double controllers, no one's going to be able to see a dang thing. I can't wait to see how this plays out for the final map of LCQ. That's wild to say.
That is wild to say. One of these teams will be joining us as the 12th for our Challenger circuit, and I am absolutely perplexed because it's anything But what we talked about, Pure R not on the Sage, he's on the Raze. Rooney not on the Astra, he's on that comfortability pick of the Sova. Sonics are starting on the attacking side, and they're aggressive up into Hookah, but just on the inverse. Door Esports out to grab the orb, and 3 players stacked up here on this B site to defend.
There's a big stack up, but Nerve was also lurking around A site. That Viper wall dedicated. That means the secondary controller now, Mina, has to put in most of the work with those sky smokes. They haven't been used yet. That Viper wall still continues to plan to rotate back over to A, but everyone's deep in Hookah. A 3 stack for OR, though, right outside the site. Nerve is going to make some noise. Put that wall back up. Make it seem like there was a giant rotate that happened around the site. These random pop shots, it's baiting out the rotates, and there it is. The sky smokes go down. Full entry onto the site. That's control as Zell just falling.
Yeah, but look at the util. Incendiary paint shells finding frags. Some extra damage as well from the grave for Mina. Sure, that spike will get planted, but Sonic's a player down now with a couple of classics and a frenzy to play with. Good Molotov down for the snake bites, but not good enough as Pure R has to hold on, and the frenzy is the weapon of choice, but 2 out of 3 was not enough, and Jonah 6 hangs on for the OR pistol.
Oh, that was such a close call of a round, despite Nerve having somewhat of a convincing lurk. The only issue is that Nerve, they started showing the pop shots, making a lot of noise, and then just as the rotate began to happen for OR, that's when the execute for Sonics over on B site occurred, so there wasn't enough time to sell the fake over to A site. OR, they were still planted heavily on B, that they were just able to re-rotate immediately, and you were still down by 1 if you're Sonics. Luckily, though, that was only the beginning round. The Viper wall goes down the same exact spot. It divides out the teleporter and the majority of lamps away from the defense. But it still gives the majority control for where the spike can go down and showers for the defense to play with. And this single, somewhat linear attack is going to limit the options for SQ, but it really comes down to how they want to play it. Zeldris is on top of Car. Sitting, waiting, hiding away, only a single blast pack now after using one to get to the top of the car, but no one's there. The wall does help him a little bit, and the boombot's there to see if anyone overextends past the wall. The answer's no, but it does get to the mercy of a firing squad. Poor little robot. And now there's Lamps control back in Zelda's favor.
I like this, shooting at the classics. They don't know that the stingers are here. A couple of snake bites, we'll see where those land. Try and find some vulnerability, turn these stingers into phantoms. But the clock is continuing to tick. Pure R forced away from the paint shells. A little bit of damage, bit of info found by Zeldris as he shows us the B-Hop movement back into U-Haul. And Sonics have really yet to make a decision. Sure, the spike is leaning out towards A, but they've got 2 players creeping up towards Hookah. And not a whole lot harder just yet. Damage on Mina. Wall goes up. Teleporter taken, and they're hoping that the defense won't be here. Pure gonna toss out the molly once more. That incendiary slows things down. 2 players go out over the top. They take a bit of damage for it. The spike not yet there. Now the rotations come through, and it's 5v5 here in the post plant.
5v5 in the post plant, but the damage somewhat already done. Not a single member of Sonics has full HP. Oh, they have a bit of a force buy here. They have to make stingers work out. Jonas in the back lines for Hookah, very deep in. Keep in mind though, look at the minimap. Mina circling around might meet the eyes of Jonah. And there it is, great for the Stinger, nearly loses their own life in the process, down to so little HP.
Sonic starting to clean up. The spike ticking, it's making the hands sweat. They're getting a little shaky. Zeldris, the only one remaining. Paint shell is out. Rudy's there. He's got to push forward, and he's found the kill. They force up, and they win it. We're tied at 1.
1-1. Sonics have to lurk every single round. We saw Rooney do it last round. The first round it was Nerve. And the reason why we're seeing that is because there's no Sentinel utility for Sonics. Not traditional. Yes, Viper can be that semi-Sentinel to slow people down, but you have nothing to account for the lurks. And so even though everything's postured at the beginning of the round for Sonics to approach A site, Rooney's there to help clear some space at the top of Hookah. Whether he goes down from a Hookah swing or even catches somebody out trying to flank from Spice, it means Sonics cannot have a full attack with 5 people every round. The Viper wall hasn't gone up yet. The response here, though, from OR is to find aggression. Lear's forced to back off, taking a wealth of damage. Self-heals used. No utility left for Lear. In fact, there's very little utility for all of OR to work with as Zell just loses their life.
snake bite down, but that's not going to mean too much. You can't quite force like Sonics did in that previous round if you're OR Esports, so Classics aplenty can really only hope to do some damage. 3v5, Pure one away from the orbital strike, so in death he'll have that ultimate online moving into the next round, but this should surely be a Sonics round. Obviously, we have all the information that the defenders are here, so a teleport play wouldn't be too bad. But for now, they're holding their ground. Mina gonna sneak on through, and that teleporter will eventually be taken just to try and secure the round. Nilly, that's a bit of damage. Will have a weapon in his hands as he looks to retake, but this one should continue to go the way of Sonics.
Yeah, keep in mind, Nilly and Jonah don't have the best weapons here to opt for a save. It might be more beneficial for them to take fights here and just lose or find economic damage. Shonk is the only... Oh no, Shonk isn't the only one. Shonk has Pure lined up as well to help out. Pure does have the Bulldog. Who let the dogs out? It's Pure. That's one going down. And Jonah, just with a classic, maybe good to find exits here. Should be well aware about his presence. That guiding light's gonna give away the whole story. And there it is, those pop shots. Jonah tried to strafe across. Couldn't even find any damage. But Sonics are good for 2 rounds in a row, and a lot of that comes down to the teleporters. Waiting a while on the opening A site, playing pretty much a condensed version of Fracture by taking those teleporters to a completely free site and fast executing off of it. They have full site control, and OR have nothing realistically to stop them when they have situations like that. But there are full rifles now, Tanner. Instead of classics and stingers like we had seen the last round, there's more of an obligation for OR to spread out their defenses and hide in corners. That means the B-side's fragmented. Both Jonah and Nilly cannot play off of each other. There's a giant wall dividing them. But Nilly gives up hookah control early on because of that. Early information with the guiding light does spot out at least a few from Sonic's side, but they're pushing in fast.
And that flash is so nice just to get that information. Sure, teleporter, always an option, but I know early Sonics are here. They're trying to go quick. Couple of rifles, but mostly Spectres for the team. Inside the tube, good flash out over the top. Nilly in a really tough spot. He's vulnerable. He's been taken down. Pure looking to make this their round as Jonah tries to battle back. Gets 2 of his own, make it 3 before falling. As Eldris and Pure VNS, they just have to hold on to the site because the spike is at their feet. And Rooney, the tallest of tasks, he looks to drop on down, silent in his drop from Hookah, picks up 1, picks up 2, make it 3 on the round for the eBay clutch.
Good lord, wow, what a great clutch. And that was such an important round from OR too. They needed to keep those rifles. And now they're back down the stingers. They're back down to the thrifty. And we gotta give props to Jonah there. Just a single one tap twice over to help clear out the majority of the site. But even then, that wasn't enough. But because of all those kills, at least Jonah does have the Seekers to work with, and given how fast these teleports can be from Sonics, that's a great time to go for a read. And typically on this map, we see those Seekers come out almost immediately. Guiding Light from Jonah doesn't spot anything, but the Boombot does. A fast push there as Snurv takes down Pure VNS from the other side of a Sky Smoke. So many audio cues, but look what it promotes, Tanner. It's Jonah and Nilly going on the adventure of a lifetime, a caravan over to the back lines of B as Sonics execute on A.
Nilly not good to find that frag, unfortunately. Stinger long range only did good chip damage. As Nerve's a dynamic duo of his own. Tosses out the snake bite, finds that first kill. Courtesy of the vulnerability. Does it again. This time, however, he didn't collect the kill onto Lear. He works his way onto the site. He's met by Zeldris. Heal is on. Lear is, well, dead now. But he's looking to make this one doable.
And it's OR. It's a variety of factors. Because we're seeing differences where different players are being stationed on sites in different positions. There are rotates, there are flanks. But it's coming to the point, and I hate to boil it down this far, but it really feels to me as just a gunfight diff. Over and over and over again for that site control. And now that Sonics can go into this next round for ultimate, same for OR, it's just going to put more pressure on this ult economy and how well it can be balanced for both these teams. Early smoke goes down, the guiding light on top from B side doesn't find any info. Sonics once again have been uncontested by stacking up outside of A. Zeldris just barely escapes into the Hunter's Fury, caught by the second, make that the third.
No way.
A great opening pick, and there it is, the showstopper too from Pure. Dividing on everything, taking another life, it's nearly gone. And that's full site control. For a small map like Bind, you need to take 2/3 of a site, but for Sonics, that's not enough. They take 100%. 3 out of 3. The only thing they don't have is Heaven. Only safe spot for Lear.
I mean, that round, what can you even do? Zeldris trying their darndest just to survive, but Rooney, the tracking with the Hunter's Fury, lands the final 2 shots. Sits the Rays down, the Rays on the opposite side. Drops the base into showers, and Nilly was met by that one. Speaking of that said Rays, Pure pushed a little too aggressively, bites off more than he could chew, trying to find some extra kills, hurt the economy a bit more. Either way, at the end of the day, one player drops, another round to Sonics as they find their 5th.
And this isn't the end of the world either, because 3 different members of OR saved their rifles, and they still have those ultimates to work with. And the buys aren't great. You have Spectres to have at your arsenal, but all things considered, a lot of your top heavy-hitting people still have their proper rifles to help contest a site. But a lot of those ultimates were used that last round from Sonic's side. They found Impact with Hunter's Fury, the Showstopper. In OR, they might talk about that going this timeout. But a lot of it just has to do with how much pressure Sonics are mounting. And this is old school knowledge. But way back in the days of Tier 2, Tanner, Sonics, at the time Renegades, so much rivalry potential there. Grand finals for a variety of events would always end on that decider map being Bind. And more towards the end of those times, way back in 2021, 2022, it was Sonics that would take it out in victory. And they, even if the squad isn't the same as it used to be, they're still finding that same exact stride they did 2 years back. They're 4 rounds ahead right now. They have lesser ultimates. 10-1 for Rooney, by the way. And for OR, they have to keep spreading their defenses thin, going for the same setups, the same Viper lineups. And each time, Sonics know this map better than anybody else to bypass it all. That one way goes down. It's meant to stop Sonic from pushing in immediately, even with that Viper Wall going up. Problem is, though, Viper Wall goes up. Even if you have that one way, Zeldris can't see anything past Viper's Wall. So instead, it's a waiting game again. The Viper's Pit goes down on B long. Not that anyone from Sonic would know exactly where that is just yet. So they're forced to push that linear path right down yet again.
Pure's on. Mina, unfortunately, is not. 2 for 2 thus far. The incendiary backside keeps Pure from wanting to swing across. Spikes to be planted. And Pure really left on an island here. No real help. One player comes from pipes, another inside the showers. The Viper's Pit is down. Domain expansion out from Nerve as he looks to play a different type of post plant. Not necessarily the lineups, but the pit instead. With the spikes on the outside, you have to push on through to see if somebody's defusing, and Shong does just that. Nobody is home. Pure trades it back, the pit will fall, and Nerve does go back to the trusty lineups. Jonah gonna try and stick the spike, he's forced off halfway. Time running out, Nerve left to try and stick the clutch. Beautiful flash, and they found a way to stop the lineup, stop the post plant. Sure, the kills are there for Nerve, but the round is for OR.
And I think a lot of the success for that round for OR was just not over-rotating. Even that would have been better for A-Site. We saw it seeing the Viper's Pit go down on B long, just waiting it out. But this Viper's Pit, too, on the reverse from Sonics, actually I feel like did more harm than good. The Seekers came down in return, found immediate info against Sonics' positions inside of Nerve's Pit, and just allowed these off-angle positions to catch Sonics off guard. There was no tradeability. But now that there's no Viper's Pit from either side, it's a bit of a reset here for the positioning outside of A. For the first time now, Sonics are contesting showers. Trailblazer goes through and the doggy does find some info, at least finding Lear. Now Shonk's gonna play aggressive. Lear has that first contact, should be strafing right into their bullets, but through the wall, Shonk makes it work.
Lear flying a little too close to the sun there, unfortunately, allowing Shonk to find that kill. Look at the space garnered here, Nilly.
Yeah, I like this.
All the way up. They know that Sonics, at the very least, have to still be leaning heavily towards A. Rooney, step on out. Oh my God! Nilly tried the trigger discipline and Rooney punishes.
Oh no, Nilly! And now think about this, Tanner. Nilly goes down, and now there's no Viper wall dividing Garden or B site, but it doesn't matter because the call's already been made to go back to A. 3 left alive for OR. Zeldris helps even out the odds, but the orbital strike, there's no space to maneuver. OR, they're just wildly
30
swinging,
seconds
they're
left.
finding impact. Despite the sacrifice of Nilly, the teleport reigns true again, and look at this, there's nothing to block off Hookah. It's a 2v2, 20 seconds left. No ultimates for anybody, barely any utility for the post plant. No lineups at all.
Patience. They're trying to see if anybody from Sonics is going to go aggressive. Mina does that and spots both. Backside. Rooney trying to play far away. He's got shock darts available. Recon bolt as well. They're just going to hop onto the spike. They're going to look to stick it halfway, and Rooney just cuts him down again. Sonics find another.
Oh. OR. The lineups, the stack ups, they looked so good on A, holding these off angles, but Sonics in the post plans, it's a different story. Look at that lineup there. Just unlucky, really. 6-2. We've seen drastic scorelines like this in this series already. Every single map, it feels. But usually OR find a way to take it back. But because Nilly had gone down from that really unfortunate play, that might mean he's going to respect that space a lot more now and rely on other people to overextend. Sky Smoke goes down, Pure going for the early nade. This is good for the boom bomb, but suddenly Shonk and company are surrounded. It was a trap.
It's tough. You got to respect it, right? OR trying to make the best of a bad situation, given what they have in terms of weaponry, resurrection available. Surely this is not the round that we see it. Those bodies a bit out of reach. And with that, I mean, I don't blame them for thinking that we're going back to the old school Valorant. You get a kill over here, then you run over there, then you get a kill over there, then you run back over here. So they think that's what's happening. They go over towards the B site, thinking Sonic's going to rotate all the way, because we've already seen that a couple of times this map. But they're still promptly going to take this A site.
Right
4
here.
players strong.
Revealing
There should be a 7th for esports. You just have to die. That's basically how it goes. Unless Zeldris can do something crazy with that Sheriff. Nilly can pull something off. Damage is the name of the game.
Yeah, and this Viper wall too from Sonics is great for the post plant. You can divide out again to see if anyone pushes the lane of A from the flank, but that's not going to be the case here. The best weapon, a Sheriff for Zeldris. No real option for Lear to use the Resurrect. Might be able to take control of back lamps and maybe take down Pure. That would be a good start, but the timer's already ticking away so fast. Post plan setups for both lineup, all 3 lineup Larrys really, in Showers area. At this point, just looking for exits. You might as well. The Molly had already gone down. There's no one there to be on the other end of it. No toes burnt. And I think if I'm OR, I'm just going to walk into the spike. You don't gain an extra death. You just lose your guns, and yep, there it is. Goodbye, Sheriff. But we're coming close to the end of the first half, Tanner. The final first half of LCQ. A 5-round lead over OR, and there hasn't really been a response yet. It's Sonics being able to take this attacking side, kind of solve it out, and just play around with these teleporters in any which way they want. And keep in mind, too, that for OR, they don't have any direct information utility. The best that they have is a boom bot and a guiding light, but both those utilities don't tell you how much people are on the other side of those utils. And there it is, guiding light outside of Showers, nothing on the other side. No response. A guiding light in reverse, Lear spotted out, can't go for the wall. In fact, there's a Huntress Fury and revenging turns, going for yet another,
No
just
way!
knows where Nilly will be. What a read.
3 for 3 on that Hunter's Fury from Rooney, finding a kill, supplementing another, and Mina will happily waltz his way onto the site.
Spike
Says it
planted.
takes 2 to tango, and he found his 2. And now the spike is planted, and I mean, hope is lost. Spray through the wall onto Zeldris, finds him at 66 HP, and he's just gonna satchel away and head for the hills.
Yeah, and this is off of an eco round too, so for OR, they have to keep these rifles. They have no other choice. If they start fumbling now with their economy, you're looking at the last 2 rounds, all looking like a broken buy or even a straight up save yet again. Saving these 2 rifles might be the only hope for OR to gain more rounds the rest of this half. And Nerve could be the X factor to remove that away. No information at all on A. Has every corner needed to be checked out. And even if it is a post plant, these weapons are of the utmost importance to preserve. But there's nothing, no showing. A great round again from Sonics. And what's there to say that hasn't already been said? Sonics, their executes are looking fantastic. I mean, look at Rooney here. That great read, knowing the game sense-wise that one would be outside of Garden. If 2 aren't there, there needs to be a presence inside of Hookah. And that was Nilly again getting taken down unceremoniously on B site. And there's only 2 rounds left, Tanner. Only 2 left, and Sonics have not needed to change their strategies at all. Early guiding light, did find some info. Jonah though, gonna take the risk and strafes out with his knife out.
Okay, Pure put in a bad spot. Nilly, good vulnerability onto 3s, flashed up. If he just held mouse 1, he'd have been all right, but obviously unbeknownst to the player himself as the Seekers go through. Nerve gonna go atop the box this time. He cuts down a few as he right-clicks and backs away. Lear eventually dealt with Pure VNS, the last one standing. 850 credits, and they don't even want to give him the opportunity. They teleport to safety. Quickly deals with the wall. Nerve hitting it with the United States smash there, breaking it all down in one go. The spike is planted, and now the dream is set in motion. 1 player on the side of OR Esports, 3 that separate them from a 3rd round. They'll hop onto the spike. Trailblazer comes through. Halfway they go. The dog doesn't quite make it. Romina trying to get aggressive. Recon bolt goes out. And unfortunately, the shots just a little too shaky in the 1v3, and Sonic secure a 9th.
A 9th round, Tanner. Only 1 more to make it a 10-2 half. And then you're looking at the next pistol round, if that does happen to be the most important round for OR of their entire competitive lives to keep it in game. But we're not there just yet. We still have 1 more to go through. 2 ultimates to work with, though, for Jonah. There's the Seekers, and there is still the Resurrect from Lear that has yet to come out this half. So I'm still waiting to see what kind of impact it can have, but Sonics, they've been able to play so fast that it makes the Resurrect almost impossible. A 3-stack right outside of A main. They know what to expect at this point from OR. Good start.
Okay, Zeldris, yep. Great start here. Decapitates Pure R. There's the Resurrection. I thought Lear was saving it for 2024, but we finally get it here in the last round of the half, and quite possibly one of the most important. Try and keep the curse alive, but help bolster your team to get the best that you can. Bringing Zeldris back means well. This time, Nilly not going to let Rooney go for free and allow him to flip the fight on its head. Boombot goes through, and Shonk going to be found through the sky smoke. Zeldris, the return on investment is there from the Resurrection.
And again, this 3-9 scoreline's paramount for OR to find. Only 2 left alive here, but again, we've seen Mina, we've seen Nerve, and what kind of clutch factors they both have. The spike is way far away from Nerve. On a solo journey back over to B site. There's only 1 there. The guiding light doesn't connect. It's meant to be a pop flash, but no. Instead, Mina's way too far away. Nervous, there's the distraction. A sacrificial play to keep everyone on A site. Pure's just jumping, waiting for something to use the molly for.
A beautiful guiding light as well. A guiding light from Jonah out towards B long. Now the Trailblazer to confirm, and it's only 1 player here. Mina, the only one. I could sure take the TP. I don't think that's going to be the call. And actually good incendiary from Spawn. Line up here to keep Mina at bay. He's got no time. 3 defenders here. He's got to walk right through it. 1 kill away from that orbital strike. There's that 1 kill, but Swift on the trade is Pure VNS, and there it is. Resurrection used. Zeldris finding that ROI, and OR finding their 3rd round. As we swap sides, they get to mount their attack, but they have to show us something crazy here, Keg.
They really do, and we haven't seen OR play their attacking side in a while for Bind, but Sonics, I mean, they've already made themselves have such a devout lead. It's the strongest one they've had this entire series. And I don't know what to expect from this pistol round. The first pistol round we had was nothing short of madness. So if OR can recreate that same exact tempo that Sonics can, play around with the fact that teleporters do exist, and use that Viper wall to really confuse the defense, yeah, OR could get these next 6 rounds to tie it up. Look at this Viper wall though from Nilly. It's different from what Nerve was bringing out. It goes deeper in. It divides. I don't know if that's a mistake or what, but it doesn't connect fully to the back of lamps. And it intersects directly in with the other Vipers, the defensive wall. But Showers controls more the name of the game here.
And Purar looking to hold on to that control. Zeldris runs him down. I don't know if he knew how many were there. Fortunately for our esports, they're off to a great start. Pistol round so important in this comeback, as Rooney is that guy who buys the Sheriff on the Sova. Unfortunately, the ROI there is a little bit less than what Orr got in the round previous. So 2 players dead, a spike to now worry about. The clock ticks down as Sonics are forced to retake.
Yeah, now Nilly and company, they might be the lineup Larrys that we predicted to see. Zeldris, though, good for 3. Or the others. Pure has a really good idea about where Shonk could be, but no! A bad case of the timings. All that's left now is Shonk on the flank. Good to shut down. Moore has that guiding light, blinds out nobody. They all hide.
Oh, good flash though. Zeldris still able to find the 4th kill on the round. Shonk made that one look scary, made that one look doable, but Or esports recollect, find themselves a pistol, and we'll see what Sonics decide to do after losing that one.
Yeah, that was a miracle play right there from OR. A desperately needed round. Now they can buy it, have their economy build up and snowball at least a little bit more until the next rifle round. And good flank from Shonk too, able to catch out Pure on that timing again, and then just pushing to the side, taking solos, but wasn't enough though to convert the round, but it did find at least a little bit of damage. Sonics though, full save yet again, 2 shorties to worry about. Right outside of Garden too. Might just be able to play a contact play. Rooney though, a little different. Already finding some damage against themselves, but Nilly, they're running away. Are they aware about Rooney's presence on this lurk? Oh no.
4 players.
Oh no. And Rooney. Ooh.
And Rooney, and that's only 1 attacker out there. So that's a weapon that's easily retrievable. That's gonna go into the hands of Shonk. As the teleport's taken, everybody hears this one, and this round just got scary with a Sheriff and a Shorty. The only investments, paint shells in the hands. Unfortunately, those won't go off by themselves. Lear's able to punish the players inside heaven. Beautiful barrier orb to take this high ground. Now in the 2v2, Shonk has the weapon, and that weapon has since fallen. Rooney! The shot to the back of the head of Lear. As a dart goes out, he's caught with the util, the Legolas impression. You never bring a bow to a gunfight, says Pure VNS. And Or esports are getting us that much closer to a tie game.
That was a good reference, I like that. Very nice, very nice. But 5-9. We talked about the miracle run to get that first pistol. Then convert it to the next. Now, the heat is starting to rise for Sonics underneath them. Unconventional spike plants, running around the flanks. Again, no flank watch utility for either one of these teams. We didn't really get to see OR take advantage of that terribly, and when they did, they were, well, we saw what happened outside Spice. But there was some aggression that last round, and Shonk is playing a dangerous game. Knife out, jump peek. Guiding light in return. Forced to back away under the site, and full rotate for SQ back over to B site.
And Nerve just can't really help him in the position that he's in. Paint Shell's also going to force him off, so a full retake on the cards as Shonk eventually goes down, just getting spammed through those back halls. Some more bullets sent that way. Nobody else receiving damage on the side of Sonic, so Sky Smoke keep the players inside elbow at bay for now. And while all of this has happened, Mina's still worried about a flank. Inside the spawn, he's turned around for just a moment. Poison Orb won't allow him to push up. Concealment there, Pure VNS just on the other side. Barrier Orb dealt with. flashes out. Pure are gonna find one for the squad, but Jonah's there quickly to trade. And
enemy remaining.
unfortunately, it's about to get sloppy because that clock continues to tick, and Rooney in a 1v4 could not stand tall enough. Once more, or put one in the win column. 6-9 is where we land as Sonics have been reset.
Very nice, very nice. And this is the same exact beats we had seen when the sides were reversed. Sonics, they were able to convert so many rounds so quickly on the attack, and now OR doing the same exact strats. One thing we haven't really seen that much in prominence is both these defenders. They have Viper walls, but they aren't really stopping the attackers. This Viper wall is more interesting outside of Hookah and Garn. It's a lot more aggressive than some of the others, but we look at Nilly's wall, certainly not a mistake at this point. Great to have that kind of strafing potential between both sides of the wall. It's almost a mini cosmic divide that you can hear past. And there it is. Trailblazer through showers. Rooney may be thinking it's safe to push up, but Lear's on the other side. And they're just dancing around each other, unknown about each other's presence. Rooney goes for the opening shots, only with the Sheriff in tow.
Preemptive dart there. See if anybody would push, see if you could spot anybody over the sky smoke. That space hadn't yet been taken. Meanwhile, space taken out towards mid. Shonk all the way down Sands. We've seen this angle before. It didn't go great for Nilly. We'll see if it goes better for Shonk. We'll even see if it comes to fruition. It's Nilly just gonna wait patiently inside the market. See if anybody pushes
I've
out.
got your
Imagine it happens to Nilly on the other, like, reverse side.
Yeah. Good util. Wall goes up. Nobody gonna be able to push from U-Haul. Players inside showers still for OR Esports. Jonah gonna find the first. That one onto Nerve. Shonk now slowly working his way on up, but Nilly privy to the flank. We'll find another for himself as Jonah adds another tally. Make it 3 on the round. The sheet's flawless for OR Esports, although it was essentially an anti-eco round. Sonics didn't have much. We're now looking at a whole lot closer of a game, and this attacking side seems to be where both of these teams want to play.
4 in a row right now, Tanner. And again, really not too many changes. We see OR playing much more into the site and less reliant on lineups like Sonics were up for their own attack, and that's benefiting them a lot to gain up a lot of eco. They're racking up frags, but they're able to take down so much. But Sonics, their economy's been bouncing back and forth. They opt to go for the full buy again, and take a look at Mina, an operator now, aggressively looking for that opening pick, but it's actually Zeldris with the showstopper on the other side, forcing Mina to reposition. Everyone hides.
Yeah, Mina with the operator, no longer on the Cypher. This time it's the Brimstone, the Brim Op. Paint Shell's gonna force him back, though. Good Molotov right at the feet. The Snake Bite finding some extra damage, but Nilly gets a little too aggressive, and 12 HP is plenty for the player with the operator. The wall goes up, the spike will be planted safely. Jonah allowed to do so, courtesy of that Sage utility. A 5v3, look at the health though, Keg.
Look at Rooney's
Not
flank.
everybody is incredibly healthy.
Not healthy, and Rooney can take advantage of this. Completely unknown, no turrets, no tripwires, no nothing to stop his presence.
Okay, that got weird for a second. I thought Lear might have been able to find 2. Rooney, good timing to the side of the head of Zeldris as the Rays get sat down. Shonk will find his counterpart. And Sonics, they finally show some sort of a defensive round as they found their double digits. Now 3 separate these two teams.
And that was an expensive loss for OR. We had seen Zeldris early on use that showstopper to clear out the majority of showers, but nobody was really there. It forced Mina reposition. Worked a little bit officially for Mina's favor, at least extended their life more, but again, where did that operator go? I'm still in the possession of Mina though. It was grabbed again. But like you said, a breath of life here. Double digits now for Sonics. They need 3 more to qualify for Challengers, and OR, well, they need 6. But this is the first full B attempt we've seen in a long time from OR. Again, we talked about that aggressive wall that Nerve has brought out for Hookah. Now, when the sides were reversed, that same Viper wall was only blocking the entryway for Hookah onto site and Garden into site. This one allows a little bit more breathing room for Nerve to hide into the site, and Rooney to find more information to push out and maybe re-rotate. But it also leaves Nerve on an island. They know about this potential push maybe towards Long, but they don't see anything outside Hookah. So now it's gonna be incredibly hard for Nerve to evacuate from this position, and it's up to Mina now to find this opening pick. Just like that.
Will not
Yep. And that he does. Resurrection there, and he's so quick on the orbital strike. The Hunter's Fury just behind it, and Rooney usually good for these. Unfortunately, everybody has started to beat feet through the teleporter. 2 will go. Lear was already out of the play after dropping the Resurrection. He knew what was at stake in doing that. So 2 deaths given over to Pure in this round as Rooney cues up the shock dart to see how they deal with the showers push. Paint Shell's just behind it. Trailblazer not going to find the stun, but we go dog for dog. Util for util, and for now, or esports, they're still stuck. Not able to push this site just yet, but look at the spike. Kaga went all the way back towards the B site. It wasn't a full rotation from Lear. He's now working hand in hand, in tandem, like otters floating through the river, holding hands with Nilly. Wall goes up, spike goes down. No way, Lear hops off and finds the kill onto Nerve.
And just keeps going. Make that 2 more for Nilly, the greatest spray transfer I've seen so far in LCQ. And all that's left now is Pure. Forcing to just back away. If they find exits, maybe good for the showstopper into the next round. But way too far away from that. And again, these aggressive rotates for the attacking team works out. The Viper Wall is effectively useless. Nerve playing around it the entirety of that round, only in the end to be backstabbed by Lear planting. And at this point, Sonics again, they may be at double digits, but it's OR very quickly catching up. They've won every round of their attacking half, all but the last. And I thought maybe by now, Sonics were finding those adjustments about where OR like to play in the early and mid rounds, but no, not anymore. OR keep going for these calls where they rotate back and forth and wait out that timer to see where is the best place to put that spike down. And I forgot to mention, this is off of a round where Mita gets the opening pick 2 no less and uses Orbital Strike to convert on another. But it's just these up-close plays that are working out for OR. SQ go for another timeout here. Their first one of the series, first one on the map, excuse me. And Rooney, at one point, 10-1, now 18-8, finding so much impact with all of their utility.
Yeah, and if things keep going the way that they have been, right? 4-to-1 ratio, 4 rounds to OR Esports, 1 round to Sonics. Hey, OR happy to take that trade.
Yeah.
Eventually, that means a game 1 here by the attacking side. So we'll see if Sonics can make sure that that trend does not continue. And seeing if their defense, well, if they can put up some sort of defense. They had the right call. It was just played so beautifully by OR Esports, right? Teleporters taken, and the entire time, Nilly and Lear, they have that play where they're just lurking back up through hookah. At the start of the round, right, you had OR Esports playing counter flash. They're playing so deep into their spawn so they don't get spotted out towards B-Long from Shank. And then the lack of information on the other side is actually what was really telling for Sonics. They flash out showers or short, say, hey, nobody's here. They're probably leaning towards B, and OR Esports able to take advantage of that, head back towards that B site and make it hurt. Now, it's a couple of deaths later, and Pure Vanessa has an orbital strike of his own. 1 away from this Viper's Pit is Nerve. And, well, they've got it. Orb out towards Long. We'll see if this is the round that they choose to use it. Stinger's Classic, Sheriff, and 1 hero rifle in the hands of Pure R is all that Sonics have to work with in this round.
And remember, OR only had 1 initiator to work with for their defense, so they had to rely on utility to find information on only 1 site at a time. Dividing out Sova and Sky here for the defense, they can find info for both B and A. And there it is. Even though the recon bolt didn't find much, Nerve prepping up the Viper's Pit, should block off B Garden. As long as they're not pressured, they should be able to maintain it and going up. A rotate now over to a 4 stack.
I got the spike.
Could very well promote a teleporter play right here. And look how far deep in, though, Pure is. In case there is a rotate, they should be ready to take down at least 2 off the teleport. And there's hesitancy. OR are not sure if they want to contest this yet, but it looks like they might be opting to. Oh, no. They only have a single lane. That's going to be Elbow. Shank is good for 1, but there was an immediate trade. Now it's chaos inside the Viper's Pit, and they can't see a dang thing. Zeldris magically removes the Viper's Pit. Now the teleporter's not needed. They can go back to B.
Yeah, only real 1 avenue of approach to try and threaten this plant because of that wall. So good to allow that there. The angle being held over towards the cubby. With that, OR Esports, spike planted. A player ahead, Paint Shells come out. Pure R has the weight of the world on his shoulder here in this round with the only rifle. Boombot goes through, Zeldris finds 4, Zeldris finds 5 for the Zetex ace. He's happy to have it with the showstopper behind. And only 1 round now separating these two teams.
And remember where we started off for the beginning of this half? It was 3-9. The curse. It may very well come to fruition again. Sonics struggling to adapt. They've been able to reposition themselves. They're playing defensively with whatever little util they have, whether it be Sage's wall, the Viper's pit on top, whatever they can. Actually, Sage's wall's from OR, so that was good for dividing the site. But like I said, whatever util they have, to try to just remove positioning from OR, they've been failing to do so. Early Guiding Light did find some info. Jonah again does have that Trailblazer to use. Off of this wall. Not finding much inside lamps, following the dogs. Zeldris looking for any clues that Blue can find. Can't find much, but it's Lear instead to find Pure.
It's stolen. The kill's stolen. As the rocket went out, Lear's bullets were a bit faster. Mina finding some good damage. Drops the operator. Now wants to have that rifle in his hands. He looks to fight back into the site with the team. A player down are Sonics. And it's that 3v4 right now that are separating us from a tie game. No push through U-Haul available until that barrier orb is dealt with. Flash is available. One more Sky Smoke to come on through. Unfortunately, Mina just caught in the worst possible place. He was in the iPad for a second too long. The iPad kid gets punished as the spike continues to tick away. Nerve now to hop on, working against the clock. He gets the spike halfway. He wants to go all the way inside the smoke, and he'll do it! The post plant from Nerve is so good. This time it's a stick for the eBay clutch.
It's Sonics. Every time, they just barely inch out a win. They haven't been able to do it consistently for their defense. They've only managed to get 2 rounds, but they just need 2 more to qualify for challenges and end the series. And OR again, they've put their pedal to the metal. They've had that aggression, and they're not looking to stop whatsoever. These ultimates displacing so many different enemies has been working well. Let's see what this next round is going to lead up into. A bit of a default here for OR, something we haven't seen terribly often. Covering every lane, expecting maybe aggression here with a bit of a broken buy. Only Rooney has a rifle, and that's going to be the Phantom, already forced to back away. Now that Viper wall comes up from Nerve. Still nothing yet. But outside of Garden's a very different story, and Jonah may very well find opposition here. Trailblazer goes down, Doggy unfortunately put down, but look at this on top, it's a snake bite in return. Util for Util. And it's back over to A again.
Wall up, makes it hard to fight through U-Haul onto this site. And again, the swamp here on the site. Viper post plant. See how potent it can eventually be. You heard the judge barking, so nobody wants to push this way. Stinger also gonna ring true out and over the top of the truck as Rooney gonna go hunting. Snake hunting to see if he can find Nilly to answer to this pit finally. Pure feeling confident enough to get the spike planted down, but Rooney is just starting to cut down. The attackers now turn defenders. 3 survive, the pit still stands. Mina, judge, jury, executioner. The snake right in front of him as the incendiary comes down. Who goes aggressive first? It's Brimstone on Brimstone violence as he tries to swap his weapons. Caught with Util out. And Nerve and Rooney close out the round. Sonics will push us to map, to series, and qualification point here on Bind.
All it takes now is 1 for the eBay Thrifty. All it takes is 1 now. The only rifle that Sonics had starting that round was from Rooney, and they made it work. And now they're only 1 orb away, 1 ult point from getting that Hunter's Fury, and again, finding that long-range info. In fact, that's up to 3 now for Sonics. Could be a huge ultimate game. OR, what could very well be their very last timeout in LCQ. Well, it will be their last timeout in LCQ, but it could be one of their last timeouts for a very long time. Goes underway. 9-12. A 3-round deficit here. They haven't been able to achieve much in that first half, and now they've crawled so far back to bring it to an even game, only to be stopped now by 3 defuses, and maybe 1 more. These post plants have been tricky for OR. They've been good about finding rounds where it ends in gunfights. But Sonics, they play patient. They play for their angles. They play through the smokes in the Phantoms lineups without being able to see where the bullets go for the enemy. Mowing them down. The lineups are there. The utility early on spells out what the round could look like. And remember, all of these games have gone to double digits for both teams.
Yeah, what a series this has been. 13-10 on Pearl, the way of Or Esports. 13-11 on Fracture for Sonics, just narrowly closing that one out before heading into overtime. And we'll see if this one is any closer or any further. This could be it. As the recombo goes out, Rooney punished for the aggressive positioning. But meanwhile, out towards Sands, Mina got himself the operator again, got himself a pick, and the orbital strike online.
And now OR are displaced. They've lost Rune, but they've lost Pure. They don't have any smokes left. So pushing a site is going to be so tough. Nilly's wall is already dedicated towards A, and guess what? So is Nerves. If both those walls go up, you won't be able to see a dang thing no matter where you are on the site. It's almost like B might be the only option. Double guiding lights, the birds cross. A minute left on the clock here. OR lost one of their most pivotal utilities they need for this round. And now Sonics, they can play nice and safe, hiding corners. They don't have to worry about sky smokes anymore. These pings, the next few moments could be so important for all these players' careers. Trailblazer goes down, doesn't find any info on Sean, gets Mina to take them down instead. Molly goes down to divide that line of sight. Mina has the proper angle. Orbital strike online, no. A barbecue to hard, no. Saved by the bell, it doesn't go hookah. Mina misses the orbital strike.
And the op shot misses both here. This is looking doable for Or to get themselves back into it, but we continue to trade kills. Up atop the tube goes Jonah, and he can't reel in the spray, but just like that, Nerve, the last one standing. If you blinked, you missed it. The spike not yet planted with 10 seconds left. Lear will eventually get that one down, and he has a Resurrection to play with, and he'll use it on Jonah. Out from the spawn, inside the cubby. Nerve will toss out the snake bite, trying to make sure nobody pushes aggressively.
A double contact.
Continues to fight for these swings here. Yep, the cross is there, the shoulders are spotted, and Nerve just in such a difficult position as he starts to walk his way on out. He should be able to spot them all, and well, guess what? They'll all swing him, or Esports hang on.
OR performed a dance of death, and Nerve couldn't do anything there. All that strafing back and forth, back and forth. 2 rounds. OR, it was a really tricky beginning, and they managed to convert the round despite losing Pure. They still had an extra controller, but even then, it was all dedicated towards A site. That was a round done effectively without any sort of utility to take site control rather than just taking fights. Mina still has that operator. Hunkered down over on the top of heaven on A. That Viper Wall won't be able to stop him though. Early Hunter's Fury though, this is such a strong start. Does find info, finds a kill, Jonah falls, and that's your end of flashes. No more of that though for OR. Would you rather lose your flashes or rather lose sky smokes? I don't know.
I mean, there's nobody better than Rooney with the Hunter's Fury. He has been near perfect with that ultimate here on Bind.
Oh, this one way.
Molly.
But he moves just at the wrong time.
Good incendiary though. Bit of damage onto Zeldris. Lear gonna try and creep up to get that spike planted. Smokes are down. Seekers are out. Wall is up, but there's a slight crack. So a player can look to peek from U-Haul. Stimmed up with an operator in hand. The beefcake of Mina. Looking to make a play. Rooney sat down. Aggressive on the dart. Lear there to punish. Pure now through the smoke. Through the dust cloud. Try to get aggressive. Flash comes out. He's got to look away from that one. No, it times out, and everybody was looking away, and Pure is able to capitalize. But Nilly there on the trade. Incendiary out. Molotovs are down between the snake bite and the incendiary. Pure gonna fight forward with the rifle. Is the stinger not enough? But can Shang be just that? The paint shell's in the post, but there's no time left on the clock. He's forced to teleport away and save his gun.
And all of that pushing potential. Sonic should have had the round. They had the entirety of the site, including the spike. But you know, it's our old friend Larry who came back again. Lineup after lineup against this car site. 11-12. OR need one more round to bring it to overtime. Reset the game, put it to an even scoreline, and then we fight into overtime city. And for Sonics, it's so much higher in stakes. They need one more round to bring themselves to Challengers. They were upper bracket demons, taken down by the nation, and made a flawless lower bracket run to this point. They don't want to lose it now, and neither team does. Early Guiding Light finds a wealth of info against OR. Nerf's wall already stationed up, ready to go, hiding away. 3 inside now, Hookah. Pure does find some info. No one on the lurk though anymore. Look at this push out from outside Hookah. It's a reverse crunch from SQ.
Nilly might be the linchpin though. He's wrapping all the way back around through spawn. Pure gonna get that spike planted. The shock dart's not quite doing the damage that Rooney could have hoped for. Nilly now in the backstab, and he's here in the romps, the stomps, and unfortunately Nerve had his knife out. Punished for one. Shock now creeping on up, but he's put in an awful spot. Difficult to back away, but he finds the second. As Mina hops onto the spike, he wants to get it halfway. He will go down as Pure collects 2, make it 3, and they've done it. OR battle back, and we're headed to overtime.
And the reason why OR are able to convert these rounds now is because Sonics are aware that there's so much post-plant lineup potential for OR that they're forced to almost contest on the defense just as aggressively as the attackers. They have to go to the back lines, take down Pure, take down Zeldris, take down Nilly to remove all of those mollies and potential any throw objects that do damage. And now that OR could start to read into that, they were aware about how disenfranchised Sonics could be, how split up they were, and they could take those group fights. But OR back on the defense, it didn't go well the first time, and Sonics had a dominant lead. And OR have to change the story here. Only a few seconds left until the round starts, and already positioned right outside the barrier. It's going to be a bloodbath, Tanner.
It is. This is that aggression torch sword that we talked about. Although the strats are different for Sonics, they're not much more different for OR, but they get punished. No, Jonah! What a round from Jonah 6 to get us started. 3 kills on it right at the beginning, and it's closed out just like that. And defense has been the most difficult side for these two teams. OR Esports 1 round away from clawing all the way back and qualifying. And they get to have their attack, but fortunately, before we get there, a timeout.
The last timeout Sonics can use. The final timeout anybody in this server can use. OR, again, they ended the first half with 3 rounds, and this entire round you can see in the replay.
One enemy
Just
remains.
gunfight diff, Jonah diff. Good lord. So then what did you do with your Sonics? They were forced to play so aggressive just 2 rounds ago, disrupting all the post-plant mollies. And if that's not there anymore, that doesn't work. And that's what led you to go 12 and 12 for overtime. You have to rethink your entire strategies from the ground up. You have 1 round to do it. You have to make what, again, the side that has not gone well for either one of these teams, they have to pull a miracle here. That dominant lead squandered away, only getting 3 rounds for the defense. Well, it's easier said than done.
Right here.
It is easier said than done. I think my game plan for this for Sonics is exactly what they're doing. Put an op
Right here.
in the hands of Mina. There's no ultimates that can force him off the line. It's going to take utility to do so.
Standing ahead.
And we'll see if that will be enough.
Oh, but the double initiators are lined up right on top of each other. Recon
Right
bolt,
here.
the guiding light, there's no info for A-site.
None at all. And we've seen this counter flash play from OR Esports. They don't want to give up this information just yet. And Sonics think it's safe to walk this way. They're doing their due diligence to clear it out, but
they
I don't think they know that they're walking into the bloodbath. Could be the opposite way, though. See if Zeldris looks to clear. 2 players going to be spotted. Dilly finds the first. Chunk there on the trade. We go back and forth. We continue it. But a player down now are Sonics. And both are on the opposite side of the map. Stim is out. Nilly gonna beat feet. Use the Chevrolets out towards this B site. And look at the util toss into the smoke. Pure R. You do not want to walk forward. Paint shells. 2 glass packs. And the operator in the hands of Mina. This looks all but over for Sonics. It's gonna take a heroic effort. A Herculean effort.
Sonics playing for 1s right now. They don't have a cross. They're trying to meet up directly on the spike. Orbital strike in the hands of Pure VNS.
Prepare for hellfire.
Off the spike they go. Pure on the swing. Pure to sit him down. And who better.
Attackers
Pure
win.
VNS, 4 kills on it. And OR Esports have qualified for the Valorant Challengers circuit. They battle back from the depths. They say no to death from Sonics, who have been the lower bracket Grim Reapers, and they find themselves as team number 12.
What's to say? Out with the old, in with the new. A team that was so dominant Unbind for the longest time over the years, being outclassed by a team that's dominated Tier 2 for the longest time that I can remember. OR absolutely deserved, and that was a crushing battle at the very end. Who would have thought it would have been in the hands of an upping Brimstone that maybe tried to bring it back? But at the very end, we saw a whole gambit of different things. The Sentinel prowess, the Duelist, everybody all at once pulling up their weight. But it was just one team that took an inch further than everybody else.
Yeah, it was a good series, man. It was a good series, one for everybody to watch, and one that you can't hang your heads if you're the Sonics players, the Sonics staff, or the Sonics fans. It's definitely one that you're going to look back over and hope that you had changed a few things here and there. But congratulations to OR Esports for closing this one out. And again, being that 12th team that qualifies for the circuit that is just around the corner. Speaking of just around the corner, we've got ourselves an interview with one of the players of OR Esports. They'll be joining us to talk us through what it was like to qualify in the LCQ and the Open Qualifiers last week. But before we go, we obviously have to get that one set up. And I got a question for you guys in chat. What's more frustrating, glitches or botched plays due to cold hands? Well, Zippo's rechargeable gaming heat bank can protect you, or can't protect you, from the glitch fairy. Unfortunately, just get a new PC. It's easy as that. But it will banish the freezing of fingertips, and you guys can get yours today right now at pks.gg/Zippo. So while you guys are warming up your hands, we're going to be warming up our cozy little cam section here for an interview with one of the players from OR Esports. We'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome back, Valorant fans, as we've just concluded our final series of the LCQ, and it was OR Esports in overtime of Map 3 to send Sonics packing. And of course, with this winning squad, we've got the winner's interview, and it's going to be Nilly AZ joining us. I know Nilly's got some fans in the chat, and he also has some fans here on the desk. I think he's made Keg and I a believer. So let's go ahead and get Nilly in the call with us so we can pick his brain just a little bit. Nilly, my man, first and foremost, congratulations. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time. I know that you probably have crazy emotions right now after qualifying for the Challenger circuit, and I would just like to maybe pick those emotions a little bit. And if you could tell us what it's been like for these last 2 weeks to eventually be here as that 12th team qualifying.
No, I mean, like literally every single day we've been practicing like 10 hours a day. We haven't taken a break since Christmas, you know, and it's just been a grind. We found a new coach. Shout out to Eric. I know we're doing shout outs later, but he's like really developed us as players, and we just, you know, it's just been crazy, honestly, the improvement that we've seen. And, you know, people call us scrimmers. People call us like, you know, we choke in matches, and, you know, last qualifier was one thing, but holy cow, this is like a crazy amount of emotions.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, there were so many emotions from Tanner and I also covering you guys yesterday too, going up against Squirtle Squad, where you played Pearl, you played Fracture. They didn't really go in your favor, and Squirtle Squad ended up qualifying. So overnight, though, talk to me about what the emotions were from the loss of Squirtle Squad into today, where you played the same exact maps over Sonics, and you do incredibly well otherwise.
So I would say the biggest thing, the difference is if you look at the Squirtle Squad game, we go into it confident, but I think we got up rounds and we were up. I think it was up like 6-1 or something on Pearl. And I think we started playing not to lose in a sense. And, you know, we were playing retake, right? And part of it is me. And I think, but like going in today, we just said, hey, it's the last day. We have nothing to lose. Like our year is on the line. And same for Sonics, but you know, I didn't want to go out, and our team didn't want to go out just like not swinging, right? And so I was just like, we go into it. If we lose our way, that's all right, but let's not lack our key. Don't leave something out in the field, right? So
that's the best you can hope for. Yeah, I know that the difference between yesterday and today, and your performance specifically on Pearl, incredibly standout. You're really showing the Killjoy how strong it can be. I appreciate how far away you play from everything, so you can't be affected by the 0 point. This is kind of a throwaway question because I think we know the answer, but you're the only Killjoy that we've been seeing with a turret lineup on Pearl. Can you talk to us about not only how you found that and what that does for you guys?
So, okay, that one was just like, you kind of just like look at the ground and then you aim at something and then it's just consistent. And then you say, hey, can you walk out here? Does it see you? And can you walk out here? Does it see you? But I would say actually one person that influenced that was Zeldris or Elijah. He's a character. He's a bundle of energy. But I've thrown turrets before that weren't lineups, and then, you know, someone walks up and it doesn't see them, like accidentally, and, you know, he just freaks out and goes, oh my gosh, like, you know, and it kind of just stands out that, you know, it doesn't see him. But honestly, on most maps, I throw just like a lineup turret just so that it is consistent. I'm OCD too, so it helps. Like, it helps my OCD if everything's the same. But no, that's definitely the biggest thing. Is just like I like it to be consistent. So.
I mean, you all played very consistently, especially on that final map. For my final question for you, Nilly, I have is, talk to me about overtime. Because that was the only time we really saw overtime. It was crushing. I think even we were shaking a little bit. I mean, how do you handle those kinds of emotions, and what was going through your head in those final rounds?
I mean, we definitely had the upper hand, right? You know, going from 9-3. Sorry if you can hear them in the background, but no, just definitely just full confidence, right? You know, our coach is telling us just play with confidence. You know, we're up, and you know, our defense half, I would just like not trying to discredit what Sonics did, but you know, we won pistol. And we were really confident going into it, but then we get bonus, then we go down 5-1, right? It's just like a kind of a snowball effect. But I think going into attack, we just know we play our game, and we felt like Bind was actually one of our strongest maps, and we just, you know, our defense was just a little lackluster, but I think our energy levels were so high. I mean, you guys saw in that defense round, right? Like we pretty much just called, let's just go fight them, right? Like let's go fight them short, right? And I mean, we played 4A, and then attack half, we were down 9-3, and we were just winning rounds. So just do what we do. That was definitely the biggest thing.
Nilly, it has been an absolute pleasure watching you through Open Qualifiers, through Last Chance Qualifiers, and even well before that, before the days of OR. You are an exceptional player, and it's been a gift to watch you this far. And now you get to go on and do even bigger and better things. But you have a lot of fans out there. You have a lot of friends, enemies, family, all the above. What do you got to say to all of them?
You know, okay, I made a list just so I didn't forget anyone. But, okay, huge shout out to my parents, because they, you know, I've been through different rosters, and money's been something that, you know, doesn't come all the time. So they've been a huge support system for me. And then obviously OR, right? They signed us. We hadn't even qualified yet, right? And like, huge shout out to those guys. Vapin, I've already talked about. Our coach has really transformed our roster. Chris, who's our assistant coach. Audrey, who's our manager. And then also shout out to some of the watch parties. Yesterday I did have a bad performance, and just, you know, I was in my head a lot. But, you know, Rossi, my man, really, you know, stuck up for me in situations where he really didn't have to, and I was going like 5-20. But and then I got a lot of kind words from Michael or Net. You guys know Gardnet. He kind of uplifted me in the moment I was feeling down on myself. But a huge shout out to everyone. Everyone texting me. Everyone saying like congratulations. It really does mean a lot, and I appreciate it. And thanks you guys too. I appreciate it.
Oh, Nilly, you're going to make us emotional, but thank you so much, Nilly. Again, a great pleasure watching you, and I can't wait to see more of what you achieve this year and well beyond. But we're not going to keep you much longer. You got to go celebrate, man. You don't have to stick around with us much longer. Have a good time, my guy. Go celebrate. Take the night off and go party. But, man, Tanner, LCQ it's over. You know, it's sad, but it's been a pleasure working with you, my friend. Everyone so far for LCQ, and who knows what the rest of the year has in store.
Well, we do know what the rest of the year has in store. At the very least, for the next half of the year, we do. Right? We've got our Challenger circuit. It's going to be starting February 1st. So your favorite teams that you just got to watch qualify. In the last couple of weekends, you'll get to see them again alongside the 6 that already found their way in through the invites. So it's going to be electric. But before we do that, we have some thanks to give for not only you guys in the chat. Thank you guys for being awesome as always. But we want to give some extra love once more over to our friends at eBay, because the gaming deals at eBay are unmatched. Guys, they offer up to 50% off the must-have brand new tech, plus free shipping, and they carry all of my favorite brands, such as Razer, HyperX. I don't know, I had the Quadcast behind me. I don't have it there anymore. I apologize. All the way over to Alienware and more. eBay is the one-stop shop for all of my gaming needs, and it can be that for you guys as well. So please check out the deals over at pks.gg/eBay. You've got some time to make sure that you guys get the best peripherals before we jump back into the server with this one. As I said, February 1st is when we get started for that VALORANT Challengers circuit. 12 teams battling it out in their respective groups all the way out through June. And guess what? At the end of it all, one of those teams will be crowned King of Ascension, and they'll find themselves in the Partner League. But until then, for tonight, we have to say goodbye. We appreciate you guys, and on behalf of myself, Keg here, the entire production crew over at Knights, we want to say thank you guys for being awesome, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.
enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Attackers win.
To some, this is nothing more than cardboard and ink. But to those who know, these are precious metals, rare gems, a full set it took 15 years to complete. Low-pop rookies, hypnotizing hollows, one of only a handful in the universe, or an heirloom to look after for the next generation. No matter what you collect, raw or graded, to have and to hold, or to crush your opponents with, what matters is that it's real. Introducing eBay's Authenticity Guarantee for trading cards. Our third-party authenticators inspect every detail of your card and compare it to the listing to make sure it's the real deal or no deal, because we know just how much your collection means to you.
The game starts long before the game starts. You get your gear right, your keyboard, your controller, your controller's controllers, and the keys to your keyboard. Because warm hands are faster hands. Gain the upper hand and power up your pregame warm-up with Zippo hand warmers.
Finally, you can stay in control of your thumbsticks. Natural evolution gave the gecko its amazingly strong grip. Our multi-patented SetX technology duplicates the microstructured fibers on a gecko's foot for a revolutionary new way to get a grip on game controller thumbsticks. Like a gecko's foot, the thousands of microstructures on each SetX anti-slip thumbstick grip provide high friction to the skin surface for a secure, comfortable grip, even when sweaty, giving you a competitive advantage. Stay in control with the secure and comfortable grip of SetX thumbstick grips. Inspired by nature, perfected by science.